don't settle, bitch. Now shout.
We were only 7 together every night.
Pull up,
But we are not 7 with you.
Hi everyone, it's
Army time! I didn't know we were doing that.
Yeah, well, we're having a special episode this time. What number is it now? 16, I think?
15.
15. Episode 15, special. And we thought that we would do something for the new year that was just a little bit different, just something to have fun with and to celebrate BTS. So we decided to do a top 20 of 2020. Since BTS released so much music this year, it's insane, and I'm so grateful. But we wanted to talk about the ones that we put in our top 20s, how we order them and why, and explain why, and just appreciate their music for however long this takes. So yeah, that's what we're doing. And I encourage you all to do the same and to think about why and what reasons you have, and maybe put it in the comments with explanations for each of your songs of why you chose them in that order.
Yeah, and I also just wanted to say, like, this is us just celebrating BTS music. We obviously love every song, and our top 20 is based off of our, like, preference and what we think. So, like, we're not the end-all be-all.
This is not to discredit any of their songs. It doesn't mean that our top 20 is better than the other songs that were released. It's just personal preference. It's just what this means to us, why we liked this one so much, what it meant, and yeah, just to talk about them and just to celebrate some of their amazing music.
Yeah. So, let's get started. All right, first off, we wanted to share some honorable mentions because 20 seems like, that's plenty to, like, pick from, but, like, they had, 58 original songs this year?
Well, that includes the Dynamite remixes, but it was about 48.
40, okay. Yeah. And,
how many was it that I put? Yeah, so 48, like, completely original songs that don't include remixes. So it's like half of the songs we had to pick, and it was so hard. And we, like, had the discussion of, like, I know that it seems like 20 songs is a lot, but I'm really sad about all the songs that I can't put in that I actually feel like deserve to be in my top 20 but aren't.
Yeah. So we're gonna start off with our honorable mentions, and then we're gonna work our way back from number 20 to number 1 for each of us.
Yes.
Okay, so Billy, I have 4 honorable mentions. How many do you have?
Yeah, you said you had 4, so I put 4.
Okay, all right. I will start with number 24. Okay. And for me, it is...
함께하는 공간 너와 나 모두가
BTS in the soup.
BTS in the soup.
Also, like, doesn't it make you feel so much appreciation hearing all the ad-libs and stuff, knowing that it was literally, and all the vocals, knowing it was literally just, like, one take, just do something. They were messing around. They weren't even being serious.
I love this song for how we saw it come together. How it was that rainy day when they were in the soup, and then their, like, recording session of it, and how they were recording and just laughing and having so much fun recording it. And then how they kept, like, sending Jungkook back there. They were like, more ad-libs, go. And then Namjoon did, like, the whole thing is just so funny. I have the biggest smile on my face every time I think about this song now, and it just, like, this song is so short, but it, to me, encapsulates their entire relationship.
And the fact that they, like, even wrote it together, even that clip of them when they just all sat together and they explained how meaningful it was for them. And, like, the one thing that I always think of when I think of this is them all trying to record their own vocals whilst listening to Namjoon's ad-libs and just getting distracted and laughing because they're like, can you just turn that off because I can't concentrate.
His shamelessness in those ad-libs is the best. Like, I will say, I feel like this is the first time we've seen them in modern, like, in like the, like, not in the very beginning when they were trying to make music and trying to figure it out. This is, like, who they are today, the kind of musicians they are today, how they work together. This was such a fucking treat to be given this, like, back like behind the scenes view of how they are together. And
Mhm.
I appreciated it on so many like million different levels.
Yeah, I agree. Now that you mention it, I'm like, damn, I should have included that on mine, but I will appreciate it through your list.
Yeah.
Okay, so I haven't ordered these, I guess I will. So my honorable mention number 24 is
So burn it till it's all gone. Yeah, burn it. Nah, sorry. Yeah, burn it. I want it. Yeah, burn it. Nah, sorry. Yeah, burn it. I want it.
Burn It from Augustine's
Wow.
mixtape. Yes, so I adore this song because of like how grungy it is, the mood that it brings. Those electric guitars are so incredible. And honestly, like the whole message of this song, I find so inspiring, even though it's a very dark, grungy, like it feels like it should be a negative song, but I don't see it that way. It feels so thrilling, so like what's the word when you like are
Cleansing.
reborn? Cleansing. It's so cleansing, and I thought it was genius, and I was sad that I couldn't include it, but yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's higher up on my list. I agree. I love this song, and I think I agree with you about how cleansing it is, but also it makes me feel emotions that I typically don't allow myself to feel because like it can spiral out of control if you feel that kind of like gritty, grungy, like fuck everything, but it does it in a way that's like it gives you release by listening to that
Exactly.
song, and it's so good, and his collab with Max is so good. Like
Yeah.
they have I don't know why, but their voices like go well together.
They do. I think Max has a similar tone to Jimin, and I've always thought that Jimin and Yoongi sound really great together. And I think that they have the same kind of dynamic. And I just love what came out of their collaboration as well. Like the friendship, us getting to know Max. It was such a nice example of how an artist can be completely engulfed by the fandom and supported and celebrated. And yeah, it's just really nice. And I loved, like, honestly, I found it hard not to include the whole of D2 because it was just a masterpiece. But
well, that's
yeah.
the thing, right? Like when they make their mixtapes, they don't say, "Here's a bunch of songs I threw together, like enjoy." It's here's my story from start to finish. And it's very hard to not think of it as like one whole work with all those different songs in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, 23.
23 for me is
Set me free, yeah. 그게 내 맘이 아닌 걸 알면서 Oh no.
the interlude Set Me Free from D2.
I had to not put it on my list and it hurt so much. It really hurt, but yes.
I really love it. Like, I always second guess, third guess, quadruple guess my interpretations of BTS lyrics because I see the language barrier. And to me, I've said this before, it feels like looking through a dirty window when I see English translations. And I just, like, I don't trust myself, even though I try. For me, when it's something just musical, I feel that emotionally so much more clearly, and that clarity makes me feel confident, and I also just feel like I can enjoy the song a little bit better. So this interlude is just, it's so poignant, yearning, hopeful, destructive, sad, beautiful, like everything at once. It's like the whole album is him like having these contradictory thoughts, right?
Yes.
And this interlude to me distilled all of that into this short musical instrumental piece, and it just it makes my heart fucking vibrate every time I hear it.
I agree with you, and like I think the thing I love the most about this song is it's one of those pieces of music that just transports you. Like I cannot listen to it without literally feeling like I am floating upwards into the sky, and all of these like imageries and colors are just flowing around me as I just like lift and levitate, as like I'm not me anymore, I'm not human, I'm just floating, it's such a powerful experience in auditory form, and I think it's the perfect interlude. I love it. I really think it's amazing, and it's an incredible piece of music. Yeah.
I also can't believe that he gave us so much insight into his psyche with this entire mixtape and all of that boiled and like distilled in this song. I'm just like,
and I also
it's so vulnerable. Like we're so close.
Yes.
It's like you're so close to him in this. It makes
and this
makes
song as well.
Him.
It's like you're floating whilst you're holding his hand. You're both there. Like you're both floating. But yeah, the thing that I love about this as well is like, didn't he say he made it in a day? He recorded the vocals like just unedited.
Did he?
I'm pretty sure he explained this in his live, and he wasn't going to include it because he didn't think it sounded good, but he sent it to Bang PD, and Bang PD said he really liked the vocals.
Bang PD has really high emotional intelligence. Like, time and time again, I'm reminded and confirmed by this, and I think he needs that to lead that group of 7 chaotic men who are all so different and yet still want to make such great music. I'm so glad Bang PD Nim then was just like, fucking include this.
Because, like, he made it during quarantine, and it was just like a last minute addition. Like, I think he said all of the tracks were made beforehand except for Dechita and this one. And like, I just love how raw and unpolished it seems. Like it was just put together just one day and just with some vocals and then just edited it, and it just feels so unpolished but so powerful, and I love it. I really adore it. This was one of the ones that I was like, oh, I can't include it. But,
okay. What's your number 23?
Okay, my number 23 is Filter by Jimin.
Nice.
And this song, like, the reason I love it so much is that it took me so long to ruminate on it and to fully understand it. I first listened to it, and then I read the lyrics, and then I listened to like a bunch of different people's interpretations, and I had discussions with you about it. Then I saw the live performance.
This is how we met.
Yeah.
This song, like DMing each other about this song.
It is. Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. Oh, that's so sweet. I would have included it higher if I'd have remembered. But like, it was when I saw the live performance that it finally was like, okay, now I know. And just the whole, I think it's so cleverly done. I think that's why it is so great to me, because it wasn't like, and the thing is, it does seem on the surface like a very typical, easy to understand like Latin-y pop song, but it's not. It's so meaningful, and like the performance and thinking about it and all the different, like, what's the word I'm thinking of? The words keep slipping from me now. Like the statements he was making with his performance, with that you can be like sensitive but sexy, and you can like you're not restricted by certain barriers that people put on you, and you can be this type of way, but you can also be this type of way as well. And like it's not always great. Sometimes it's hard, and I just think there's so much packed into it. Like, it's not my favorite audibly, but I just have learned and grown to appreciate it so much since all of those little elements have come together in my mind. And like, that's why it's not higher on my list, because like it's not my favorite. It's not my personal taste, but I've just learned to really appreciate it. And live performance.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think this is what we talked about way back when we first got to know each other, is that to me, this song, like the reason it was in the shadow part of the album was because he was intoxicated on the power of being able to change himself.
I remember our conversation now. I remember it now. Yeah. Because that's what you were talking about why you thought it was in the shadow part of the album. And yeah.
Because it's so, if you're so good at it, the way Jimin is, and switching his appearance, his mannerisms, the way he projects himself, he's so good at it that you can get lost and you know, just drunk off that power and lose who you really are, because it's so easy and effortless. Well, maybe not effortless, but it's easy for you to switch between those different filters.
Yeah. And I think that this is why I enjoy it, because as much as I love songs that are immediately captivating to me, like what I appreciate so much about this is how many hours I spent thinking about it, how much time it like developed, how much my own perception of it changed and shifted as I got more information. And that's like it was a great experience for me to go through with this song, and that's why I really, really love it.
Agreed. Yeah, I had to exclude it from my list, so I'm glad that you had it in your honorable mention so we could talk about it.
Yes.
All right. So, 22, my honorable mention for number 22 is
I just wanna be happy. 거듭한 욕심일까?
Blue and Gray.
Mhm.
I love that song. I think it's amazing. It's just, I don't like sad music because I don't like when it makes me sad. But I appreciate the beautiful voices in it. The emotion is so well done. This song is it's such an achievement, and I'm so proud that Tae got to include his mixtape song in this official release, and that he was able to take an emotion and that he was feeling to the end point of making such a beautiful song. But yeah, the reason it's just not higher for me is I can't handle sad songs. They make me so upset, and
That's fair.
I avoid them. So I think this might be one of the songs I've listened to least on the album because of that.
Well, this is higher on mine, so I'll save my thoughts on it until later.
Okay. What is your number 22?
22 is
새벽에 맞는 전화 여전히 그때와 같네
변하는 모두에게 필연적이지 어떻게 변해가는지가 우리의 어빌지
Moonlight, another off of D2, which, like, honestly, this is one of my favorites on D2, but like because of different reasons that factored into my decision making, I couldn't include it in my list. And again, like, it was really hard because like this is one of my favorites. I listened to this one, it's probably one of my most listened to.
It's so easy to listen to. Like, it's so fun. It's kind of like a fuck it, we're doing this song.
Yeah, like the thing I love about it so much, first of all, is just the production. The sound of it is just completely my style. I love it. It's very nostalgic whilst also being very modern. But the thing that I love the most about it is it's just so casual. It's so carefree. But it's so deep at the same time. It's like, I'm just gonna talk to you. Like, this is how I'm starting my album. Like, I'm putting out a project and there's gonna be a lot in it. So let's just get started. Let's just do it. Let's go for it. We'll talk about it. And it's such a good song. Like, it's so well put together.
And it's so Yoongi.
Yes, it is. And I think that's why it's not higher on my list, because even though it's one of my favorites to listen to, like, I couldn't say much about my feelings on it except from I just fucking love it. And I think it's so him. And it's such a great
I fucking love it and Yoongi.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah.
Yeah,
genius.
I had to exclude it, so I'm glad that you talked about it. Yeah.
Okay,
and then my number 21 is
0 o'clock and you're gonna be happy and you're gonna be happy 막 내려앉은 천원처럼 숨을 쉬자 처음처럼
0 o'clock. Yeah, it's not higher for me because it's like a sad song. It's you'll be better. And I'm like, I don't want to think about this. So I think it's amazingly done. I'm really touched that they thought to make something like this with this kind of message, that they wanted to transform Midnight, 0 o'clock, into something special for ARMYs. I think this is for them one of their solutions for the fact that they get so many people writing to them and telling them that, like, I was in a dark place in my life and you changed it, you made it better.
Yes.
And this is them saying, like, well, if we did that when we weren't intending to, when we were just expressing ourselves, what if we tried to actually make a positive impact on your life? And this is like one such way, by making this kind of song. I really respect them and am touched that they did this.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't include this one on my list, so again, I'm glad it's on yours. It was close though, and that's just because it's not like my style musically, but the reason it was probably my 25 actually, but the reason it was so high for me is that just the lyrical content is such beautiful poetry. Like, if it was a poem, it would be like one of my favorite poems ever written. It's so beautiful, impactful, moving. And I love what Namjoon said about it, is that, like, this is what he would want people to say to him. And it's like he can listen to these people he cares so much about singing his words back to him for when he needs them. And it is such an important message in terms of mental health, is that like, you know, it's not always going to be good, and like you just have to accept that sometimes. And sometimes all that you have is faith that one day it won't feel like this anymore. And I find that to be one of the most comforting things, is like, yeah, it feels like this and it feels horrible and everything's rubbish and I don't know what to do and I don't know what to think and I don't know what's going to make anything better, but I'm just going to hold on to that last thing. What's the last thing in Pandora's box? Hope. Just it reflects that message for me. And like I say, like, it's not my favorite musically, but in terms of the lyrics, it's so poetic, it's so beautiful. The imagery that it constructs, like there's a line in it about like the snow and how like when the snowdrops fall and there's just that second of moment of like everything is just
everything
fresh.
like holds its breath or something.
Yeah, it holds its breath for a second. Like it's so beautiful, and I love the lyrics in that song.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And then in case anybody was wondering, Namjoon said that it was his V-Live that he did behind the scenes for Map the Soul 7, where he talked about how this is the song that he wished somebody would write for him. And, and that he loved that it was like the vocal line. He's like, they were all singing for me. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, that's what I love about it as well, is that like he wanted to console us and comfort us by writing what he would want to hear. Like, this is me writing to myself because this is what I would want somebody to tell me. And I just think there's something really powerful in that and really caring. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my 21. You're gonna have this one much higher than me, and this was a hard one for me, but it is.
Louder than bombs that break. 쏟아지는
Louder Than Bombs.
Yeah, it's way higher for me.
I knew it would be. I knew it would. But okay, so here's my thoughts about Louder Than Bombs. Again, I am not the biggest fan of this type of music. Like, I appreciate it because of like that really low bass sound that's like ominous. It's like it's creeping up on you. Musically, I think it's so clever. It's really unsettling, as well as being really beautiful and piercing with the vocals on top of it. Like, I appreciate it. I think it's musically really amazing. It's just not something I enjoy listening to. It's just not my personal preference. But I also will say like that the lyrical content and the insight that it gives us into their minds and how much I can relate to it, like even though it's in a very different way, like I feel that way so often, that like I see so much pain and I see so much hurt and so much injustice, and I feel so powerless from it, and it destroys me. It feels like it's crippling. And the fact that they have that on such a huge scale, because there are so many people that they care about and who look up to them and who they want to help but they can't, and it's this whole really interesting social commentary on somebody that like has all this influence but is powerless. I find it so groundbreakingly heart-shattering, vulnerable, touching. It, like the lyrics to it, I have always really loved so much. And again, like this is why it's my 21. It's just outside of my 20, because even though I'm not the biggest fan of the song, even though I think it's got incredible vocals on it, like it's just not my personal style, and that's why it's just out.
Yeah, no, I mean that's totally fine. I'm gonna save my commentary for when we get to it in my list.
Okay,
but yeah,
so that's our honorable mentions.
This is a fucking lie. Top 20. It was more like top 24. I'm glad. You and I don't like to constrain ourselves.
Never. Yeah, don't fit me in a box. And the thing is, like, we could have talked about every single song that came out this year and had things to say
we
about
will when we get to it in Army review. One day,
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, there's some honorable mentions that like these were the ones for me that like I really wanted to include in my top 20. Like the other ones I had very specific reasons why they weren't in there, but these ones were the ones that like, oh, I really wish I could put these in there, but I just can't. So yeah.
All right, let's get to it. Top 20. Number 20.
Okay.
For me, it is Strange from D2.
Okay.
The song is so fucking good.
Mhm.
And I love that it was a collab on D2 between Yoongi and Namjoon, like his other fellow BTS member, who I love seeing how their styles collide when it's just them two and they don't have to adjust and like make room for the other members, because they're all 7 distinct styles, and this is let's just take 2 and intertwine them. I love the commentary on the world. I think it's so relevant, and even at, you know, it's been a year since this came out, almost a year, and it's more relevant than ever. I was saying that, like, just recently there's like a June lyric bot on Twitter that retweeted the lyrics in relation to some world events that were happening recently that have made me very angry, and it just fit perfectly. And I was just like, they see, if people like the song, other people see that our world is wrong, things are not correct, and it made me feel heard and seen, and I felt solidarity with other people who appreciate this song, you know, like I do. So.
This one's higher for me, so I'll save it until
Okay.
So my number 20 is
섬 그래 여긴 섬 서로가 만든 작은 섬 Forever young 영원이란 말은 모래성 작별은 마치 연합부터 같이 그리움과 같이 마주하는 아침 서로가 이 영겁을 지나 거기서 나서 잠시만
8.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so
why'd you pick this one, Billy? I am so surprised.
I honestly, like, this song makes me really emotional every time I hear it, and I'd not heard of anything by IU before this, but I knew who she was, and I knew she was very big. But honestly, like, there's 2 reasons. One of them is based on Yoongi, is based on the fact that he was able to work with this other titan in Korea that's so well respected, and they were able to collaborate on something so incredible, and she wanted him to produce her single, like her actual title track and everything, and like that he was able to release this and give it to somebody else, and like just to see him credited in his own right as a producer just was really cool, and then for him to be on the track. But like I think that just the message of this song and the music video and the sound of it, like it evokes such a powerful feeling of longing, of like almost a disconnect from reality. It's like you're floating, it's like you're not able to comprehend things, and you just want it to be different. And like what I've always taken from this is like it really speaks to me of loss. It speaks to me of how painful loss is, but how difficult it is to cope with because of all of the different emotions. And I think loss and grief is one of the most tricky, complex human emotions you can possibly have, because there's a part of you that feels so lucky and that feels so grateful to have all those memories, and you want to be stuck in them but you can't be, and then you're so sad because of it. And just the whole message of the lyrics and the video of like, I wish that I could take out my memories so that I don't have to feel them anymore, but I also wish that I could exist within that memory forever and just be there. And like the way that the music itself really presents that feeling of like both joy, like really like deep joy, but really intense pain. It's such a clever duality that I don't think you can find very often in music, that presents both of those things in such a clear way that it's so powerful for me. It provokes such a powerful emotion for me every time I hear it, and I just love it. I really really enjoy it.
I agree with everything you've said. I was thinking about this, like why it does it so well, and I feel like it's because it's a combination of like there's like a little bit of an acoustic guitar in it, right? And it's that is like interspersed or overlaid or whatever with like a bunch of like kind of EDM beats. So it like all of this like kind of synth, and like the EDM part is very like ethereal, and the acoustic guitar is very human because you imagine someone playing it when you think of it. And it's that like melding of humanness and longing of like being up and away. And so that's why I think musically it works. And then
Yes.
I think the music video is amazing, that like it starts physical and then it transfers into this like animated like mental daydreams, and she's in an airplane.
Yes.
An airplane to me is like a pause from reality where you're up in the clouds, like nothing bothers you, and you're just waiting for something.
Yeah, and it's such an interesting concept, I think. And I think the music video itself just it provokes so many questions, and I keep saying this, but it's like, do we want to get rid of our emotions of happiness, or do we want to belong in them forever? Is it something that's dark and cold and painful and robotic like the real version, or is it something I mean, like when she's in that like thing and she's got the like things on her head and she's saying delete memories, or is it something where you feel safe and warm in home, or is it something where it's just completely like fantastical and dreamy, or is it all of them? And it just, I think it's so clever how all of it's been combined, and it's one of the best descriptions for loss that I've found, honestly, even though like it's not sad, it's not necessarily a really sad song, and I don't think that loss is always sad. I don't think grief is always sad. It's so hard to process. Like, you don't know how to work through it. I don't think anyone's been able to explain grief.
I saw something recently that said grief and loss is just pent up love that you can't get out of you.
You don't know what to do with it. You don't know where to put it, because it's like something's missing, but like it was there, but it's gone now. And how do you, like, it feels like something that almost one of the only things the human mind can't really comprehend, can't really process. And I know there's so many different ways that people try to deal with grief and try to deal with loss, and it's different for everyone. But I found in my experience, it's the one thing that I can't make sense of, and I don't think many people can. And I just love that song for like describing that so well.
And it describes it so beautifully, and it's not in your face. It's not like saying like, this is the only way to do this. It's like, it's just where this is here, and you understand that like it's also, I use personal feelings or in the song a lot.
Yes.
And it's as like the song is kind of like a, here's her thoughts, and you can maybe take comfort in the fact that like, if you're going through something similar, she understands.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, I think Yoongi's part in this as well. Like, I always think of how much trust somebody must have to collaborate with somebody on something so personal. And I feel like if anybody's going to be able to do that, it's Yoongi.
He's so comforting.
I know, right? And he provided the most perfect musical accompaniment to that, and that just gives me so much pride, because I feel like I'd feel the same way. I love him. Number 20.
Okay, that was number 20. All right, number 19 for me is Your Eyes Tell.
So is it for me?
It is?
Yeah, it's my 19 as well.
Perfect.
It's so touching.
I'm so glad we both have this as number 19.
I know. It feels like it, I don't know, it's just the right placement for it, in my opinion.
Jungkook produced it.
Yeah, and wrote the lyrics.
Amazing. And it's supposed to be the song used for the movie Your Eyes Tell?
Yes. And this is the thing that one of the reasons I loved it so much is he read the script of the movie and then based this song on the movie. And when you learn about what the movie is about and you read the lyrics in connection to that, it's so powerful. It's so beautiful.
Do you want to say what it's about?
Okay, yeah. So the movie, I don't know too much about it, but what I do know, it's kind of a love story, and it's about a woman who is blind, and I don't really know too much about it, but I know that it like she's gone through a lot, she's suffering a lot, and
And she meets this guy, and he's not
yeah,
blind, and
yeah,
they fall in love.
yeah, exactly. And then when you read the lyrics based off of that and think about how Jungkook read the movie script and then came up with this narrative, it's one of the most touching, purest, moving, sentimental types of love that I don't know. It didn't even feel possible.
Jungkook is really a romantic.
He's such a romantic. He's like
his head is in romance central.
Yeah. Like the way he thinks about things, it's so pure, it's so beautiful. Like the way that he always talks about like soulmates and
fate, destiny.
Fate, destiny.
And in case anybody's wondering, this is when he got drunk in Busan last year when they were traveling around for the Fifth Muster, and he did a V Live with wine in his hotel room. He got drunk, even though he says he didn't, and started talking to Army about how he believes in fate and like all of that destiny and all this stuff. It was adorable, and I'm so glad that he did that and that no staff stopped him.
I know, right? That's one of my favorite lives of all time.
Mm-hmm. And then I still like the meme. Sorry, I'm just gonna say really quick where he goes, hey, can you keep a secret? Like, keep the secret. And then you see the live cow, and it's like millions. Yeah. And at this point, like, if you go on V Live recently, the number of people who watch that is like 56 million. And he's like, keep a secret. We're like, yeah, Jungkook, we'll keep it a secret. Definitely. Just between us 56 million people.
But he makes each one of those 56 million people feel like they're the only one. Like, how does he do that?
That it's this like really intimate.
Yeah, it's so intimate, and he's just like his mind. I don't think I've ever met somebody that thinks of love in that way and that is able to show love in that way. And then when you listen to this song and how beautiful, and like it really does reflect the kind of Japanese sentimentality that you often hear in music, of how it's so powerful, it's so emotionally charged that it feels almost painful to listen to it. And the lyrics of like talking about how like I'll be your eyes and the world will be without color without you here, like, and the fact that he makes all of these references to like the story and the pain, and it's so, I don't even know how to describe it. It's
heartbreakingly beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, and I just love that like you can hear their emotion in how high they get in the chorus. It's like you take a breath and rise up with them, and you hold your breath until the chorus ends.
Yeah, and I love how much we got to hear from all of them and all the different tones and how they all melded into one another, and they all sounded so beautiful in this song as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just, I really love it. I don't listen to it all that often because I feel like it requires a specific type of mindset to listen to it, but I think it's so beautiful.
Yeah, I don't want to be made to cry when I'm not in the mood, so sorry BTS. Sorry Jungkook.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, number 18. My number 18 is
Stay gold. 내 눈앞에 들면 Stay gold. 다시 흩어져 Stay gold. Gold. 김님이 흐릿해 그대.
Stay Gold. I love this song. Like, I didn't expect to love it as much as I did, but there's something about how bouncy it is, how like the chorus explodes. And it's kind of like, yeah, we're all hanging in there. Just stay fucking gold. Like, just, it's first of all, that is a very interesting take on English, as from people who are not native English speakers. This idea of gold as like something you should always be, like gold is the top, the best, whatever, happy. Just stay gold. Like, don't let life knock you down. Like, keep at it. It's just, I love it. And the fucking chorus, I've listened to that song an endless amount of times. I never thought I would love one of their Japanese songs so much, but I do. And then the music video is amazing.
Yeah, it really was amazing. Now, I will be honest, like, I don't really like this song.
That's fine.
Like, I appreciate their voices on it, but I don't like the melody. at all. Like it gets stuck in my head, and it's not nice stuck in my head. Like it's an annoying stuck in my head. And also, I'm not a big fan of the lyrics. Like it's not the type of thing that I gravitate towards, simply because I like things a lot of the time that are very poetic, that are very like abstract, that you have to interpret. And this is very kind of straightforward, and like it doesn't feel like the thing about them that I love so much about their words. And so it's just really not my vibe. Like I love their voices on it.
I knew you wouldn't like the song, by the way. I think you and I have like different vibes. You like stuff like 8.
Yes.
And that for me is not what I like. I like stuff that's more like Louder Than Bombs.
Yes.
And I don't know why I like Stay Gold so much. I really don't. Because
I think it's the type of song that a lot of people would like have on their playlist all the time. It's just, for me, I always require a certain type of intricacy where my mind works on 10 different levels.
You like introspective songs.
Yes, exactly. Always.
I like songs that have emotion, that are just like, we're gonna make you feel something. I'm like, here we go.
And like I think that it's a great song. It's just not for me.
Yeah. And also, I think the song is also supposed to be the opening to an anime made into a J-drama, I believe.
Yeah, I did hear something about that.
Called like Spiral. I don't remember what it is. We talked about it.
It had something to do with DNA.
Yeah. We talked about it in one of our like very first Army Time episodes. But yeah, it's supposed to be for some Japanese show. So, there's so much like BTS music and TXT music that is being picked up for Japanese media, and I'm like, yes, A+, good thinking.
Yeah, and I really like how they really respect the culture of Japanese styles and tastes and customs, and like transform their own feelings within that. Like I just think like you can always tell it's a Japanese song, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, you can.
And it's really respectful. But yeah, like when I first heard Stay Gold, like I enjoyed it, but like I have to have songs that I can listen to all the time, that it always brings something new to me. And if after a while I get a bit like
you have to stay gold. You gotta stay gold, Billy.
I hate that phrase. And I think it's because as well, I hate capitalism, I hate money, and the thought of like stay gold is just like, who the fuck said gold is something I want to achieve? I don't care about gold.
It's because gold doesn't deteriorate. That's why. But anyway. But yeah, okay, all right. What is your number 18?
My number 18, and I thought this would be a lot higher than it was, but it's Day. I love this song so much, and I said on Army Time, I don't really like EDM very much. Like I can appreciate it, and sometimes I'll listen to it like when I'm getting ready, and it's just nice to bop to. But this one really makes me emotional again. For like
I saw your tweets about this.
It was the only one that made me cry on B, the only one, because it was like. And again, I think it's that whimsical love, that pure form of love that Jungkook has so much of. It's this like, I don't know, it's this longing, but also this belief. It's got so much hope and so much faith, but it's also sad. Like it has this whole like, and like I love both of Jin and Jungkook's voices on this. I think they sound so good together. And I love Namjoon's style of rap on this as well. Like
I love the subunit.
Like, yes, I do as well. But like Namjoon's way of giving his verse here is like, it's like talking in your face. It's so passionate. It's like, feel this, feel it. And I don't know, just this whole sentiment of this song of like, everything's so difficult, like everything's so far apart from each other, and being in the pandemic is so hard, but like it doesn't matter. None of that matters. It doesn't mean anything. At the end of the day, like we're always going to be together. I believe in you, like you believe in me. And that's all that matters. The pain, the stress, being away from each other, none of it is important. Like I think it makes me remember what's important in life, and not to get too caught up in like in the bad. And even though it's important to feel those things, just as long as you can always keep that optimism and that hope and that belief in humanity and in people. And I think it's so Jungkook. Again, I think it's one of the most perfect ways.
It is. And in case someone somewhere doesn't know this, Jungkook produced it. This was supposed to be on his mixtape, and then he decided to include it, and they all decided to include it, whatever. Yeah.
And I love what the subunit brought to this as well. And I also love the fact that this is Jin and Namjoon, because I don't know, a part of me feels almost like these two are the ones that like have just defined him so much. And obviously all of them have, but these two especially, like,
yeah.
It
no, you are so right. I hadn't even thought about that. You're right.
Yeah. Like I feel like you've got the eldest brother who just completely like took care of him. Their relationship is so like
familial.
Yeah. And then Namjoon, who like he looks up to so much, who is such a role model for him right from the beginning. And like and this like song can even be for their belief in one another, and it just they add such a different level to this. And I think it would have been an incredible solo song, but I think it just went even better with the three of them combining on it, and it just gives it such a powerful feeling. Like this one provokes the most emotion from me from B, without a doubt, and it's not even my typical style, and that's how you know it's a good song.
Yeah, I'm so glad you had this on your list, because it wasn't on mine. Yeah, I love it.
Okay.
What are we? We're on number 17. All right, my number 17 is...
How could I know one day I wake up feeling more, but I had already reached the shore, 'cause we were ships in the night.
A sweet night. Okay, like, this song is honey.
Oh, I know.
The acoustic guitar, his deep voice, the lyrics, the fact that it's all in English, the fact that it's this slow love, like realizing you're in love ballad, and like this song makes me so happy, and I can never stop listening to it. There was a time around when it came out that I would just play it on repeat, and because I was like, sorry, I can't stream this, and I just downloaded it to my my offline library and just had it on repeat, because I just love it. It hits all of the parts in my brain and my ears that are just happy, and everything is sweet. So the fact that it's also called Sweet Night, I'm like, yes. The only thing I will say is this song, the only blemish on it is because of like Fountain, fucking Melanie Fontana, and her.
I don't even associate her with this song.
I that's why it's a blemish. It's not a scar. It's nothing big. Like, I have divorced her from the song, and I do not believe she had any involvement in it. I think she played herself up in the media because she was insecure about the lack of involvement she actually had. So I think this song is beautiful, and it's so Taeyong. Like, this
is... Oh my god, yes.
This is his style. Like, I love it. It feels like a hug, a honey bear hug.
I always think every piece of music that Tae makes feels like two things to me in my mind. One of them is a warm hug by the fireplace, and the other one is walking through fresh snow. Like, his music to me feels like that kind of clarity in winter, but warmth and comfort, and like, I don't know, I just love his music so much, his style, how old-fashioned it is, and how stripped back it is, and how sentimental it is. And I didn't include this one on my list, but I adore it, and I listen to it a lot as well. And the first time I ever heard it, it came out when I was in the airport, and my flight was delayed for like an hour and a half, and I literally sat down waiting for my flight with it just on rotation over and over and over and over again. And I still remember that, and that will be with me forever, is just sitting there in the airport and listening to it. And his voice, honestly, like, I know everybody has their preferences, and I don't think any one of their voices is better than the others, but just for me, like, it's my favorite voice I've ever heard in my life.
It's very unique. I've never heard anyone else with this voice.
It speaks to me on such a level that it just it's so powerful. It's so incredible and full. And like one of my favorite lines in this song is, it's like, how could I know one day I'd wake up feeling more, but I had already reached the shore. Guess we were ships in the night. And isn't that such a powerful image of like, you didn't realize it until it was too late. You didn't know what you had in front of you until you had already reached the shore, and like the
It's-
ships passed each other in the night.
It's too late. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't undo it.
Yeah. And that's such beautiful poetic imagery that really hits my soul. And the fact that he wrote that and he wrote it in English, I adore it. And I also will say it's perfect for Itaewon Class. I have watched Itaewon Class. I really, really enjoyed it. And it's the perfect song. It's so good for that show. And I was so proud that he got included in that lineup. And I always talk about this, and the thing is, like, I shouldn't be, because like they're like the biggest band in the world. Like, of course people are going to want them on their soundtrack, but like it's like when I see it, like it just makes me so happy, because I love their songs and their music so much that when it gets included in something, I feel personally rewarded. And yeah, this song, I really adore it. I think it's so good and I love them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
What is your 17?
Okay, my 17 is Ugh.
Tell me about
Ugh.
why you like this song.
Now, okay, first of all, this song gets me so fucking hyped. Like, I remember when I was like walking through London and I was like on my way to university, and like I had this song in, and like in my head, like I was walking around and everyone was like bowing down before me, and I was strutting and I owned the world, and everybody could fuck off because I was the boss. And like that's how it makes me feel when I'm walking around. And sometimes you need shit like that. But the best part of this song, well, besides how amazing the flow is on it, and like how we've talked about this, but the best part of this song is the lyrics and the message. And I've said before, the concept of being angry at anger or being enraged at rage is so genius to me. And it just like, when I first saw that line, like it was like a shiver went down me, and I was like, yes, yes. And I love the whole concept of this. I love the whole message of like, anger is supposed to be so powerful. It's supposed to be important. We're supposed to use it to protest, to get rid of injustice, to stand up for people that need it, to get equal treatment and equal rights, and
Yes.
like, and to never be held down. And that's what it's supposed to be used for. And instead it's become such a commodity, and it's been taken over, and it's been changed into something so meaningless
And
that-
petty.
and petty, and the fact that like people don't even care that affects other people, and it affects other people in a lot of ways, because and like it says in the song, is that like now you can't even be angry at things that actually matter. And it's true, because people are so fucking worn out by having to deal with all of the stupid anger that they don't want to be able to use any more anger. Like they don't have the patience for it. And the other thing is that like every time you try to use it, to fuel it for something positive, there is just all these people that take over that and try to like pick it apart. And like it's just so twisted, and just the way that our society has changed. And it's like, I think of like hip-hop culture for an example, like that, like a lot of it comes from anger, from pain, from injustice, from needing to speak back, from needing an outlet and wanting, and like it's so meaningful, it matters, it's so important,
And it's
the
become
fact-
become a commodity.
yeah, and that makes me angry. And the fact that they could put that into words of like, I get so angry at what you have turned this into. And I just think it's absolutely genius. And I love the different vibes that go into this. I love the satirical, like almost mocking sides of it. I love the like actual like, no, this really fucking pisses me off, and look at what you're doing. I love the blasé nature of it. I love the intense version of it. There's so many different feelings that go into this whole thing, and also the wordplay on it, the onomatopoeias that they use, like it's just so clever. I think it's done so well. It's so them. And like the thing about it as well is like it's so relevant for people that like them, that follow them, that are fans of them. And I just think, how can you be an army, or how can you think that you're an army and listen to this song? Like, you obviously don't understand any of it.
Small brain.
Hmm.
That's all I gotta say. That's all I will keep saying. Small brains.
Yep.
Now, I'm gonna save my commentary for when we get to it because it's on my list too.
Okay.
All right, number 16.
16.
My number 16 is
내 그림자를 가둔 한 줄깃빛 어둡기만 한 내 삶을 뒤집어 놓은 너나 어쩌면 아무것도 아닐지 너를 만나기 전엔 그저 보잘것없던 나 에이 보잘것없던 나 그저 내 삶은 다 하루를 대충 때우기에 급급했었잖아 우리의 낮 우리의 밤 그래 우리의 삶 UAREMY like 서로 채팅하는 법
Blueberry Eyes.
I thought this would be on yours.
When he teased this song, I fell in love. We talked about it on other older
Yeah.
episodes. Like, it's just that beat, that melody, like that the way he sings it, it's exactly my jam. And the fact that Yoongi is on something like that is just so meaningful to me. And the music video is so special.
So sweet.
And they have a cat in it. And the fact that they couldn't get
That was so cute.
and the fact that they couldn't get him. So Max and his wife do their wedding vows while lip singing Yoongi's lyrics, and the effort they put into learning those lyrics, all of it touches me on such a deep level. The song is so catchy. Like for me, I just fucking love it. I've listened to it so many times. This is unfortunately another one of those songs that I just have looped. Like, why can't I be a bot? And I'm a human and I'm just a repetitive human.
I know,
like
so annoying.
like these fucking streaming rules and what counts as a stream is fucking ridiculous. But yeah, and then I enjoyed the remix he made with Steve Aoki for it too.
Yeah.
Like, I like something like this because to me it's so genuine, and the fact that Max sent his mixtape to Yoongi and was like, all right, pick the song you want to be a part of. And Yoongi said, I want to be a part of this song. It
is a very Yoongi song.
Out of everything on that album, all the topics and themes that were covered in those songs, this one, it was about love. It was about Max writing a love song to his wife because he'd never never had a chance to actually address how much she means to him. So he made this to her.
The fact that he had Yoongi on this track, I think, is so special. Like, the fact that he let him be on a track that was about him professing his love to his wife is just like, that just makes me so soft. I can't.
It speaks to the genuineness of their friendship, of just that they clicked.
And how much he respects and admires and likes and like Yoongi. Like, and I always think about this, like, he's one of those people that is going to be like, Yoongi, he's the best. I love him. And Yoongi's like, I don't know how to feel about this, but I'm really enjoying it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like when Max had all those interviews and he's like, yeah, I'm having a baby. Yoongi's gonna be an uncle, and Yoongi's just like quietly like, I'm not gonna respond to this. This is this is a little.
You could tell he loved it. Like, oh yeah.
I love that. There's so much emotion, so much meaning packed into all that for me. And above all else, that song to me is such a happy take on love, on a relationship, on marriage, on romance. And I think it's so healthy. And it also makes me think about my own marriage. I just fucking love everything about it.
Yeah, no, I like this song. And honestly, you're going to think this is so stupid. But there are two reasons why I can't fully love this song. Like,
okay.
I invest myself in the meaning of it, what it signifies. It's so sweet. I love it. And honestly, these are the stupidest reasons ever, and you're gonna laugh.
Okay, what?
Okay, so first of all, when it first comes in and it has a beat that's like dun 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 dun, it's like that. It's a double beat. It really bothers me because I feel like it's like a flowy song. It's like, it's groovy. It's got this like, but then there's like this harsh beat, and I can't.
Is it harsh? I don't think it's not harsh on my headphones. Like, when I listen to it, it doesn't sound harsh.
Not harsh in the sense of like strong, as in like how fast it is. Like, For me, it feels very much like it's like this, but then underneath it's like bum bum bum. So it's like it just
I
doesn't
get
fit
it.
for
I
me.
get it. Oh, I love that part. That's one of the
Yeah.
reasons I like it so much, because I can dance to it.
And like that's just a personal thing. Like, and the other one, and this is the one you're gonna laugh at, is that I cannot. Every time I think of this song, every time it comes on, I see a human with no eyeballs and just sockets with 2 blueberries in them, and it freaks me out, and I can't get past it.
Oh, is it like when they did like the fan art and like?
No, I didn't see any fun. Like, it reminds me of like Coraline, but like there's 2 empty hole sockets, and then there's just 2 tiny blueberries
Oh.
inside of the head.
Are you sure?
And I can't get it out of
Are
my
you
mind.
sure you didn't see anything? Because before the song was coming out, Max did like a design challenge where people could submit designs for like merch for Blueberry Eyes.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
I feel like someone might have submitted something that looked like that, because I have like this vague memory of seeing something like that.
maybe I did, and I just don't remember. But like, I cannot get past it. Like, and it's so stupid. Like, I think it's such a sweet song. It's so nice, but like, it creeps me
Oh,
out,
you're
and
so
like, it's
funny.
in my head every time I hear it. Like, it's so stupid, and yeah.
Understandable. Sometimes things just get attached to really weird images and memories.
Like, Max, this is nothing on you. This is all me. This is all my weird. Like, yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. My brain works like this. I apologize. But yeah.
All right, what's your number 16?
Okay, my number 16 is
아직도 나는 내게 머물러 있다 목소리 나오질 않고 맴돌고만 있다 저 까만 걸 잡히고 싶어 가보고 싶어 I'll be there
Abyss.
Nice. Good. I don't have it on my list. Let's talk about it.
Okay. So, I just think it was so special for me to have this released on Jin's birthday, along with the note that came out. I felt it was so brave. I felt so much love for him in that moment. And the song itself, I find it's just everything that I love about him. The fact that there's so much emotion to him, but he always does everything in his power to remain comforting, positive, like supportive, even if that's to himself. And like the fact that this goes with his own journey of self-love, of learning to be there for himself. And I just love the melody and how simple it is, how laid back it is, how it's just focusing on the sounds, the lyrics, his beautiful voice, and the whole concept. Like, I know people have different interpretations of it, but to me, it's like that version of you that is so lost and that is in such a dark place that can't get out of it. And it's like, sometimes there's nothing you can do. Like, you are stuck, an abyss. Like, you can't get out. You are there. And it's like, I'm not going to force anything until you're ready, but like, no matter what it is, I'll be here. It's like his own version of Moon towards himself. And I think that's one of the most powerful images of self-love that you can have, is like, I'm just going to be here. I'm just going to get to know you. I'm going to accept it. Like, I'm not going to push you. I'm not going to try to change you. I'm just going to care. Like, that's self-love. That's what self-love is. I think this song just defines it for me. And it's very sad, but actually I find it incredibly beautiful. And I'm so glad that he can have that mindset. And he'll as long as he has that, he'll be okay, because as long as you got yourself, like, that's what I believe. And I just really love this song. I think it's very emotional and powerful. And yeah.
Agreed with everything you're saying. I find it so special that every time they release their solo songs, their individual stuff, it reveals an aspect of them, of themselves that we've never seen before,
Yes.
or that they've never acknowledged. And I feel so honored that they share that stuff with us. And that's why I think a lot of us get so angry when people take it the wrong way, when people who consider themselves fans of BTS take it the wrong way, or take anything the wrong way, because
Yeah.
you have 7 men who have taken so many steps and have so much courage to share such vulnerable parts of themselves and leave themselves open to criticism and judgment and concern and like all of the shit that would be so easy just to be like, I'm fine, I'm good. And we know
Yeah.
Jin has repeatedly said in recent interviews that he doesn't like revealing the darkness, the dark parts of him. And I completely understand that. I'm the same way. Like, it's easy to just like pretend like it's all, pack it away somewhere and live your life happy. And the fact that he does it anyway is not because he's forced to. It's because he has that much mental strength, emotional strength, courage, and understands that it's better for you when you express the stuff inside you that's dark and sad and scary and miserable, because then it's released and then it's not in you anymore.
Yeah, I think that's what's so special about this is like, you don't have to talk about it. You don't have to show that side of you. You don't have to cry in front of people. You don't have to talk about it if that makes you uncomfortable. But like, using a creative outlet to be able to do that, that's just as good. That's just as important. Like, and the fact that he can find that way to do that, and they are always so vulnerable, but it's literally like they're letting you see into their eyes. They're letting you close. They're opening up, and it feels so, I feel so privileged. I feel so grateful and unworthy of it, honestly. Like, and the fact that, and like when this song was released, it made me feel all of those things. Like, I feel so grateful to be able to love you and to be able to see you and for you to want to share this with me. And I'm just so happy for him that he felt like he could do this.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to say is that in the process of making music, you have to examine that topic that you're covering in so many different ways. Think back to Break the Silence, the docuseries, where Namjoon and Jimin are discussing Promise. And Namjoon is like trying to tease the thoughts and feelings that Jimin feels and just to understand what it is that he wants out of the song. That is how art is made, how music is made. You have to keep examining it over and over. And that's why, as Jin describes in his letter, he had those feelings and talked about them with Bang PD-nim, who then suggested make a song out of it. Go take this feeling, all of these emotions, take them out of your head and examine them in order to make a song. And that's why he was, I think you were the one who told me that he was paired with Bomsu from from Pledis.
Yeah, the one that performed
at the New Year's Eve
Live. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were paired together, and the producer, Bomsu, was the one who helped tease those feelings out of Jin and examine them and understand them. And that is how you get catharsis and resolution.
Exactly. Like, because when they're in your head, they're like this. They're all jumbled. You can't make sense of them.
And they just loop over and over again, and it doesn't end because you don't have a resolution for it. That's why you need to take it out.
Yeah. Like, I literally used to have, like, I used to have a conversation with my friend where I would piece out everything that I was thinking, and whether it be about like a project I was working on or how I was feeling or whatever, and I just say, okay, right, so I'm gonna tell you everything that's in my brain, and then what they would do is just respond back to me what I had told them, and then I understood it. Like, that's all you need, is somebody to just be like, okay, you've given me all of your little things, and this is what you've told me, this is your work, your feelings and ideas, I'm just gonna respond it back to you. And it really does work. Like, it really helps to ease like that thing in your mind. And yeah, I just think that Jin as well, he has such a beautiful way with words, and
his voice,
I don't think he even realizes it.
He's the only one I've ever heard like whisper sing. It's
so like, if you touch it, it will break. That's how I describe his voice. Like, do you agree? But it feels so fragile that like, and so I don't know, but that's how I
Ethereal.
always describe it. Yeah. And like, but just his lyrics as well. Like, I think that he is so poetic and he doesn't give himself enough credit. Like, he wrote that first verse in Stay as well, of like, was it a dream? Like, I thought I saw you, but I opened my eyes and there's no one here, or something like that. And it's the same with Abyss, of like how he talks about things. Like, I just think he phrases everything in such a beautiful way. And I don't think he gives himself enough credit for how incredible his words are.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Number 15. My number 15 is
Fuck yourself. 어떻게 생각해? 어떻게 생각해? 어떻게 생각해? 어떻게 생각해? Pay for the LV. 어떻게 생각해? Yeah. 그 다음은 Grammy. 어떻게 생각해? Yeah. 어떻게 생각하든지 나 미안한데 씨발 저도 관심 없는 관심.
what do you think?
어떻게 생각해?
All right, so this song to me is such a mix of rawness, power, rage, frustration, at like, it's like, to me, and I know you've mentioned that like you feel like when he's saying what do you think, he's talking to the industry, like, oh, you're gonna block me. I think he's talking to the industry. I think he's talking to individual haters. I think he's talking to anybody who doesn't think that he and BTS can keep going and keep achieving, because like, this is the part of him that is drunk off the power and the success that he has, because he's always thought, well, maybe not always, but like he's had this mindset of like, I am good, I am talented, recognize that I am better than all of you and I will prove it over and over again. And this is his raw feeling, because it's kind of like an ugly feeling, this like even in his first mixtape, like where he, like in Tony Montana, kind of the last, like he just talks about how like there's like a monster inside of him that's drunk off the power of his success and how amazing he is, but it's also, it eats away at him. And and he talks about it in Shadow as well, and how like so this song to me is like that, coupled with the frustration of the barriers that BTS face when trying to break into foreign markets, and how a lot of the barriers that they have are because of xenophobia and people not wanting them to be let in because they're not from the West, and how frustrating it is to them. And considering they don't really publicly say anything about any of this, their music to me is like the one place where they get to express how they fucking feel about all of this. The things that we rage about as well. This is their response as well. And it's so visceral when I listen to the song.
No, I agree completely. And this one isn't on my list, so I'm really glad it's on yours. But honestly, this song for me, I don't even see it. I think I see it in a very different way, because I don't see it as an ugly emotion. And maybe I should, but I don't. And I think the reason for that is, when you come from a lower class background, everybody is always telling you you're a certain thing. You always feel less. You always feel like you're not enough, because that's what the world is teaching you. You come from the bottom scum of society. That's who you are. And this song to me feels like him just being like, after everything that this world has tried to teach me, after all of the times it's tried to beat me down, to tell me I can't do it, to tell me I can't make it, that doesn't matter how talented I am or what I can do, like I don't belong, like look at me now, bitch. Like, that's how it feels to me. And I don't see that as an ugly emotion. I think, yeah, you should say that. You should tell society that, and you should make them feel bad, and you should shame them, because that's what they have done to you. And that's how I see it from my perspective, as somebody who can relate to that feeling. Like, I find this song to be such a, like, it brings me so much joy. Like, it makes me feel so happy. And maybe that's because I have the same kind of tendencies as Yoongi, of like, fuck this, what the fuck? Like, and again, like, I see a lot of people talk, well, not a lot, but I have seen it mentioned, like, oh, Yoongi's always bragging, like, oh, he's always talking about his achievements, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, but you don't understand what it's like to have nothing. You don't know. You don't get it. You don't know what it's like to have nothing, to be told you have nowhere to work so much harder than everyone else, to have to deal with mental health because of the pressure that that puts on you, to come out the other end despite all odds, and then to be like, oh yeah, you know, that happens. It was great. Like, no, it's wrong. It shouldn't be that way. It's fucked. And like, I'm pissed about it. I'm angry about it. And I'm going to tell you how fucking angry about it I am. And I am going to shit on you, and I'm going to tell you what I have, because society has made me like have to do this. Like, I just don't see it in the way of like, oh, he's bragging and he talks about himself and he's always putting other people down, because I don't think it's like that. I think it's a big giant fuck you to everyone that has ever tried to make me feel small. I'm not feeling small. You will feel small. And I'm okay with that. Like, I don't see a problem with that. Like, that's why I love this song.
I support that. Support everything you just said. All right. What is your number 15? We're still on 15.
I know. How has this happened? Okay, my number 15 is
양극화 세상에서 가장 추한 곳 시시는 거치 세계 함식된 지 오래고 가장 이득을 보는 건 누굴까 가장 피해를 보는 것은 도대체 누굴까
Strange. So you've already talked about this one. But okay, the reason I love Strange so much is because, like, on a surface level, I love this message. I love how it is a complete social commentary of injustice, of class, of wealth, of like the way that it shapes people. But the reason, like, there are a lot of songs that talk about these types of things, but the reason I think this is different and the reason I love it so much is that it's so cleverly done. It's not just, oh, I hate capitalism, I hate how money divides people, blah 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 blah. It's like, it's so introspective. It works through these things, and it asks you to work through them as well. And it says, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, fuck the rich, oh, I hate everyone that has money and like the poor suffer, because yes, that's a fact, but at the end of the day there are two sides, and like, this is how I feel about things. And I always talk about this line from this song, like, those who want peace and those who want war, two different sides of the same ideology. It's like, nothing ever works like that. People have different experiences to you. People grow up differently than you. Like, you can't just sit here and say, oh, everyone who's being like this is horrible. Businesses that want money, they're horrible. Like, it's saying, like, because the thing is, that ideology is just as damaging. Look at communism. Look at how that idea of everyone has the same, everyone's equal, like, it can lead into just as oppressive governments. It can lead to a society that is just as horrible, because at the end of the day, both sides of the coin, neither one of them is right. And I love the way that they tease through that idea. It's very philosophical. It's not just, this is my opinion, but they also do give their opinions. And I love that they both have different opinions on the matter. Like, Yoongi is saying about how, like, how dare this world tell somebody who actually sees it the way it is that they're the problem, like, that's wrong, and like, we need to find an answer to this. And then like, Namjoon is like, yeah, but actually, like, the fact that you can even see it for what it is in the first place, you should hold on to that. That's important. Like, that's what's strange to me, is that like, there are still people that can see it. Like, it's two different spins on it. And what I love about this is it doesn't give you an answer, and that's what Namjoon says. Like, there is no answer, that is the answer. And I don't see that as a nihilistic thing. I don't think of it as, oh, there's no answer, give up and just like have no hope. It's more like, you can't find an answer to these questions because the perspectives are different. It's like, you have to factor in everything that happens from the different sides of things, how they approach things, how the government works, how the different citizen classes works, how, like, just all of it. Like, there isn't an answer because it's subjective. And the thing is, that's why I feel like we never move anywhere, because everyone is so fixed on, well, this is my perspective and this is how I see it, instead of being like, well, let's look at it from above. Let's see how we can make a difference in all of this. And I get it, because like, those who suffer the most from these types of systems, like, of course they're going to be angry. Of course it's not something to think about reasonably. But like, I don't know. I find this song very important because it's not giving you answers. It's not telling you the way that it is. It's actually very intelligent. It's very philosophical. and it provokes questions, and it reminds me of Parasite, as we've discussed before. Like, this song reminds me of Parasite in the same way, like
The movie.
the movie. Yeah, neither way of being is correct. It's the system, it's the way that the world is shaped that makes this happen. Like, I just think it's so clever. It's so clever, and that's what I love about this song.
I think BTS are so smart. They're so
Yes.
clever. Like,
It's yes.
I love them. Like, they're comforting, they're smart, they understand how to express societal injustice and problems, and how to convey things in a way that makes you think. Like, they're so
Yes.
fucking brilliant.
They are. They really are, honestly.
Yeah.
And yeah, this song, I love it. I think it's genius.
All right, so what are we on? We're on number 14. My number 14 is I know we spoke about it before, so the only thing I wanted to add is, for me, when it came out, it felt like that was like BTS's response to all the hate that was directed at them online from other fandoms. Over the years, they've gone through so much shit on the media in Korea, internationally, and this is them just like being like, you know what? This is fucking stupid that you rage over these nonsensical things. Like, you've hijacked rage for what it's supposed to be used for. Like, you don't remember what real rage is.
Yeah, and they would know. Like, they've written so many songs about rage, about injustice. And the thing to add to that as well, I think, is that one of the things I love about that song is that they say, it's not just us, like, we're used to this shit. Like, we're not even saying this to, like, call you out on being shitty to us. Like, this is a societal-wide problem. Like, they're not just focused on themselves, but on the issue. And I really like that.
Yeah. So, anyway, awesome song. What is your
Yes.
number 14?
Okay, my number 14. And 14 is my lucky number, so yeah. It is
멈춰진 시간들 속에서 슬픈 네 미소에 꽃이 내려지길 해.
Snowflower.
Aw, good. This isn't on my list, so I'm glad it's on yours.
Mhm.
So tell me about why you like it so much.
This is just my style. Oh my god, I can't even explain what it is about it. It reminds me of an old school 50s movie. Like, I think what it is about Tae's songs is that all of them is like watching an old movie in your head. Like, it's on a projector screen, it's got an old movie, and you're immersed in that environment. Like, that's what I find from his music. And with this one, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
With this one, like, it was like roasting chestnuts on the fire while, like, it snows slowly outside, and like you're walking around and putting up like Christmas decorations, and like with the person that you love. And I just love that whole vibe. It made me feel so cozy. It, like, whenever I listen to it, I just feel so comforted and happy for a while. It's such a, I don't know, I just love the musicality of it. I love the genre of it. It's very much entwined with what I like listening to, the type of mood I enjoy. And I like that he got to do it with one of his friends as well. It's really nice. Like,
Yeah.
of course, I would have preferred it if it was all Tay, just because
I know.
love him.
We're greedy.
yeah. But I love that he did that, and I love that he brought it out. And honestly, like, it could fit into a Christmas catalog immediately. It screams Christmas to me. It's so Christmassy. And like I said, yeah, I don't know if I said this to you while recording or not, but I don't think so. But Christmas is a really hard time for me now. Like, I find it very difficult because it was a very happy time for me, but then I lost somebody, and it reminds me of that person now, and it's just very hard. It's a hard time for me. I can't really get into the Christmas spirit. I can't really feel those same kind of emotions that I used to, because it's kind of just tinged with this sense of sorrow. And listening to this song, it reminded me of my childlike love of Christmas and being with him, the person who it reminds me of, and doing those things together. And it made me feel Christmassy for the first time since he wasn't around anymore. And that's why it really means a lot to me. I really love it. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And then I'm really glad that he released that.
And I listened to it on Christmas Eve, like when it came out, and it just made me feel like, you know what? It's not going to be so bad. Yeah.
The one thing I wanted to say about Tae is that his style, it's his style. It's a reflection of who he is. And the only time that I've seen that done in pop music is like Christina Aguilera had an album a while ago where it was all like kind of oldies. I can't remember what it was called, but it's like where Ain't No Other Man was on there.
I fucking love that album so much.
Yeah, that it was all like retro and like all her she's fucking gorgeous. Her like music videos were amazing for it.
When she had like Fighter come out, that one in the boxing ring, and
okay, that's something else.
No, but that was like one of her older songs, right?
No. I'm talking about like she had like an album where it was all retro, and it was like Ain't No Other Man, Candyman. Oh God, I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
But it's like it was like as if she was like a 50s or 60s like singer. Like
really?
Yeah, and it was really cool, and like oh my God, I'm gonna fucking send you some music videos later.
Yes.
But that was the concept for the album. It was there and then it was gone.
Yeah.
And in terms of like seeing that in like pop music, I've never seen that in anyone except Tae. And Tae, that's just his style. That's who he is. And you know it's genuine because like we know what his personality is.
Yeah.
And it's really comforting to see like he's like an old soul.
Yeah.
And that he embraces it, and he's just like, this is just who I am, and how I think, and how I react, and make music, and what I like to listen to. And he's not trying to be the same as everyone else.
Like he's not even thinking, oh, I want this to be my style, so I'm gonna incorporate it. Like just everything he does is that. And I think again, like, obviously Tae's my bias. I love everything about him as a person, and what I love about his music is that like when you listen to his songs, like it is like the auditory version of who he is. Like it's very hard to explain, but like it's like if he was wrapped up and put into music, it would be his songs. And he has a consistent style, and that's why I just find them so warming, comforting, because that's who he is. Like, and very nostalgic, very like it makes you think of memories. It makes you feel safe and comforted. Like I just love his music. I love his vibe. It's very me. It's everything I love. Yes. Yeah. He's the best.
All right, let's move on. Number 13. Yeah. We're never gonna finish this fucking list.
I know, right?
Maybe we'll have some overlap.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like as we go further on.
All right, my number 13 is
24 누구보다도 빨리 오늘이 까만 같아 My life is up in a movie all the time 해 뜨는 곳으로 달렸어 every single night 누구의 내일을 가봤던 것도 같아 My Time. My Time is amazing. The fact that the production on it is amazing. So Sleepy, A+ to you. I love the concept of it, the lyrics, the fact that Jungkook is comparing the fact that like we all know he grew up from a very young age in the entertainment industry as an idol, as part of Big Hit. He went to like his middle school or high school? Like he stopped attending normal school and he was in like a special idol school, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was some sort of school where most of the trainees
so like he doesn't have normal high school or like just school experiences like the rest of us do, where we're just like random people trying to figure out our way in life, how to have friends, how to act, what our dreams should be, you know, like he doesn't have that, but he has other things, some of which are things that people hope to attain later in life, like a successful career, being well known, money, other wealth and, you know, physical investments and things. Those are things that adults hope to have, right, later in life. But he has them now, but he doesn't have other things that other people have. And he's isolated, but he's also like, he's not that isolated because he also has, you know, like his Hyungs with him. So it's just like, he's like, I want to find my time where this all fits, where I'm not out of sync with everyone else. That's at least how I interpret the song.
Yeah, I agree.
And I just love that because we all, again, this is like the first time he's ever addressed that.
Yes.
And so when this song came out, it's beautiful, it's yearning, it's so like honest about these feelings, but it's also so poetic in how he's phrasing them and how he's summarizing and encapsulating all of these complex emotions into this one song and the phrase my time, like I want to find my time. And I just love it, and it's just, it doesn't get old.
Yeah, I love that it like relates to time zone as well in Korean, and how, because I think it's so clever and it's so interesting because like every element of the world has its own time zone, has somewhere where people fit in, but like he doesn't really. Like what other person is like him? What other person has had his experiences? It is very, 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 very rare. Like, because even a lot of people, like I suppose it's people who are child stars that grow up, and but even on a bigger level, I would say, because like most of the time, child stars tend to, at some point, lose their way because they're out of touch with reality. They don't live in the same world as everybody else. They don't have the same emotions and feelings. But because Jungkook is so linked with other people who do live in that kind of a world, it feels like he's swaying the boundaries of these two different emotions. And that's what I mean. Like he doesn't fit into either time difference, and nobody really understands that. And I think that it's just, there's so much of him in this song, but it also speaks so much to his resilience. He's not the type of person that's just going to give up. He has to find the answer. He has to find the solution, and he will, and he knows that he will. And I just found it to be so honest and reflective, but also so determined. And I love the performance of it. He's just a born performer. It's insane. And
the other thing I wanted to say, bringing up time zones, I think he has grown up at a point and like became an idol and became hyper aware and dived into other pop culture from different countries like the US at a very young age. So I think he's also like stuck between cultures.
Yes.
And I think that's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because it makes you feel isolated. It makes you feel, it's the whole like being multicultural, being a third culture kid, like the idea that you can't be part of one culture, because a culture is a perspective. It's a way of seeing the world, having a certain set of values that match with a bunch of other people, priorities, expectations, and norms. And you can't see it just that one way. You know that another way exists, but now because you know that other way, you can't be fully part of that either. So instead, you're in the middle. You're this third culture that is one foot in both worlds. And he's been introduced to so many cultures and has had access to so many, so much information in so many countries through the lens of being a popular music singer, writer, whatever. Like you want to know what's trendy in all these different countries, and we know he listens to a lot of music from other countries. He shares them online, like, oh hey, look at the song I was listening to, and so just all of that mixes up, and so in his brain he's just like, I don't fit anywhere.
Just lost. It's such a hard emotion to deal with. And I think if you've ever been caught between two norms, like you will be able to understand it, but I just feel like it's so much more intense for somebody like him who literally lives it every second. Like and not to say that other people don't, but just on to the magnitude that, like, at least if you're somebody who maybe experiences different cultures, and like you're a third culture kid, like there are a lot of people that can relate to you, like. But somebody like Jungkook, like it must be like looking around and being like, there is no one, there is nobody who is like me. Like this is the road not taken. Like, and I feel for him a lot, but I think that like it's what is going to form him into somebody that's one in a million. Like
they already are seven.
They already are. Yeah.
7 in an infinite number of millions, and like they're so unique, the circumstances under which they came about, under which they all grew up, because you know they all came in at varying stages of youth. They all had experienced life a certain way before that point, and then they experienced life a different way, and the struggles they went through together. There will never be another BTS. There will never be another group that they can relate to. Unfortunately, like they are climbing the path untraveled, and I think that's why they're so close to each other, because nobody else will understand them the way they understand each other.
And you're right, like they haven't really addressed this, especially not him, and like I love that he put that into his song. And yeah, this one's not on my list, but I do love it. I really appreciate it, and I think that it's very cleverly done, and I understand why it means so much to him, and you can tell how much it means to him. He talks about it so much, and yeah, I just think it's great. I love it. Love him. Don't you think that like, this is very off topic, but don't you think like that it would be like the most perfect romance novel of like somebody from his background meeting somebody from a completely different walk of life, and they like get to know each other? And I know you've got a story on a similar thing. I mean, I'm thinking more like,
I'm like, are you trying to promote my story?
I know, right? I mean, yours is more in the realm of like the person that he gets to know is very like well adapted into her own environment, her style. She's very like, I don't know, how independent and like forward thinking, and I don't know, I'm thinking more of like a like, I don't know, I don't know what I'm thinking of. You can cut this out, but you know what I mean. Like it would just be like the most awesome like tale of like people from completely different worlds who are completely opposite of one another. Like yeah,
I'm sure awesome. That shit exists.
Probably
gotta look it up.
I don't think
Okay, what is your number 13?
Okay, so my number 13 is Life Goes On. So, I mean, we've spoken about this recently, so I don't want to say too much about it, but why it's on my list at this point is it's just one of those songs that I feel like I could have in the background of my life every day. Always, and it would never grow old. I would never feel I'd always feel like there was somebody there just standing just behind me, just slowly nudging me, not present, not forceful, just. And I think it's perfect for what this time needed, and it also means so much to me because of how much they put of themselves into it, how much thought went into it, how the fact that it's the first #1 single in Korean. I just think it has so much meaning, and we've talked about it recently, and yeah, that's why I've put it there. Like it's not higher on my list simply because like I enjoy it, but it's just not like my favorite musically. Like it and I think Namjoon said it as well, like it's a very simplistic song, which I think is very needed sometimes, but it's not the type of song that I would say is like a #1, but it's very firmly in my top 20. So yeah,
okay, I'll save my comments for when we get to it. My number 12 is Still With You.
That's my number. Oh, actually, I thought it was the next one, but it's not. So
all right, I'm in the interest of time, I'm just gonna say I fucking love this song. Like it never gets old. I love the emotion in it. I think his yearning and like missing ARMY in it is so beautiful. The style of it is so good, and I love it. I fucking love it.
Yep. Makes sense. Okay, so my number 12 is Daechwita.
Yeah.
I'm pronouncing this
yeah,
right.
Mine's higher on the list, but yeah.
Yeah, I remember when this came out and how just absolutely blown away I was at the brazen nature of it, but it was done in such a good way, how it incorporated all of the Korean instruments, but it was melded with Yoongi. I think that's one of his signature things that he does that I think is just absolutely pure genius. It's so unique and interesting. I love the lyrics in it, and I also love how it represents like how much of a student of history Yoongi is. Like all the historical references that he makes, like the rice chest and Gwanghwae, and like the king's music, like that's not, from what I've seen, not a very typical expression used in Korea nowadays. And I just think it, like, there's so much to be seen under it. And honestly, like, my favorite part of this, like, I really like the lyrics. I think it's very much like, you know, I made everything that I wanted and I'm here, but like, what do I do now? Like, I don't know what to do now. And everybody else that is like sitting there talking shit about what I'm saying, like, I'm sorry, but you're never going to understand because you're not going to reach this point. Like,
you will never be the king. I'm the one who was, you know, the peasant, and I became king.
Yeah. And so the main thing that I love about this one is the video. And the video, to me, it took a while to ruminate. Like, at first I was like, oh, okay, I think I get it. Like, he's getting rid of that side of him that, like, he's not really a fan of and becoming somebody else. And I still think it does have those elements, but like, what I didn't realize for a while until I kept thinking about it more and more and more, and first of all, the visuals are fucking amazing. Like, it's stunning.
Oh yeah.
But
the cinematography is amazing.
Yes. But like, the main thing I love is like, it's like this lower class citizen who is moving through like all of these things, and obviously like has a problem with the ruling classes, with the way things are going with the king, and is not happy about it. And he gets like, he has and there's six guys, which people have theorized are like the 6 members of BTS, and then there's a woman which people have theorized is representing ARMY. And it's like this lower class person with those people at his back is moving through, like, and he gets obviously like captured, but he's won the people over to his side. So at the end of the day, he's able to escape and get rid of the ruling classes. And if that is not what Yoongi has done, like it took a while for me to really process that's, well, in my opinion, what I think he's getting at is like, and I also do think it is a reflection of himself and his nature, and him getting carried away with things and becoming something that he doesn't want to be, but then remembering and staying true to who he is, like his roots and all of these things. But the imagery of it, I think, is so cool. And it's also just, it just makes me go, fuck yeah.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
You know?
I agree with everything you've said. This song is fucking amazing.
So good.
All right, number, what are we on? 11?
11, yeah.
11. All right, for me, 11 is.
Yeah, burn it. Nah, sorry. Yeah, burn it. I want it. Yeah, burn it. Nah, sorry. Yeah, burn it. I want it.
Burn it. It's in the same vein as Daechwita a little bit. But yeah, we've already talked about why I love it so much, so we can move on. What's your 11?
Okay. Dynamite is my 11. Okay, so I'm not going to say too much about Dynamite. Like, the main reason that this is on my list and it's here is that it's so significant, I think, in BTS's journey and in ARMY's journey, in the bond that we felt through this song, in the joy that we felt through this song, how it just was a light, a beacon within this darkness. Like, I just find that to be so meaningful. And the reason it's not higher is because it kind of pisses me off in some ways. That's not their fault. It's not the song's fault, but it just erupts these kind of annoyance. Like, this annoying, we've talked about why in ARMY time.
Yeah.
But like, it's still, I feel like Dynamite will forever remain a part of my journey with BTS. I will always remember it as one of the most significant moments. And I think they will as well. And it's not because of the achievements it's made or like what it represented. It's about the experience that we shared in this song.
How do you describe this to someone not in the fandom? Right? because
yeah.
because the only way that you can see its impact is on the charts. But
Yes.
but the way we felt when it came out, the way we were all in
Everyone
shock.
stayed up all night.
Yeah,
and
and the way we were streaming, and the way we were in shock when like there was only 4 million views taken away instead of the usual
I know.
20 to 30 million several times in the process. Like the fact that there was radio promo, the fact that there was all the stuff supporting Dynamite, like we like it's
like,
a separate.
it felt like a breath of fresh air. Like it was like we could breathe finally.
It was an actual celebration that wasn't tinged by like frustration that we were being denied the recognition we deserve, that BTS deserved. And like the reason why it was supported is a different discussion altogether.
Yes.
But if you just look at it for what it was such a great time, such a great week. And
like
it was
that week.
And it was so happy. Like this whole fandom felt so happy that week. There was so much celebration. And
exactly.
And that kind of feeling, that kind of reward and experience for everything that we've gone through is so meaningful.
That's what matters about it. Like, and I love the song. It makes me so happy. I always feel like so much joy every time I hear it, and I still do to this day. But again, like it's not the type of song that I would listen to normally. Like it's not the type of song I enjoy. Like we spoke about already, I like very reflective, introspective songs that are very experimental.
My husband
like,
still likes to play it all the time, and I'm like, I love this song, but my brain is like, I've gone crazy listening to how many times I've streamed that song. I'm like, please, I need a break. And he's like, light it up. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. And I still love it, and I always will. But the thing is, the reason for this song, the reason I love it so much is like, you know, people always talk about like certain songs just take you back to a moment and you'll never forget how you felt in that time. And that's what Dynamite is for me. And like, it just reminds me of that experience, of that joy, of that celebration, of the fact that we did it together and we found something to just forget about everything for a while. Like, in the midst of a global pandemic, everyone came together. It's so beautiful, it's so meaningful, and not because of where it came on the charts, but because of the emotions and the experiences that we had together.
That was
that's
gift.
what, like, like I would have put it higher because of those reasons, but like, I'm trying to factor in everything.
It's fine, it's higher on my list. We'll get there. Okay. All right, so what are we on? 11? 10?
Oh, let's just say we're getting in the top 10.
Woo! Top 10. My number 10 is Telepathy. I adore that song. When I heard it, it was such just a casual, like, two people who've been in a relationship for a while that they're like, I got you. Like, like we're on the same wavelength. Don't worry about it. It's how I feel with my husband. It's just just this, like, I'm happy when I'm with you. And I just loved hearing that from BTS because, again, there's a lot of things they say, but there's also a lot of things they don't fully express and, like, they only reveal through their music. And there are times, like, listening to Telepathy for the first time when I was like, we are telepathically, I don't know.
Telepathically.
We're connected via telepathy. I got you, you got me.
You got you.
Yeah, but it was just, I just think that song is so catchy. I play it.
It really is.
I fucking play it over and over again. And I loved that it was the song that they had the rough version, the instrumental type way that they used for their concept, that we played as one of the openings.
Know. I love the instrumental. Like, the instrumental, honestly, is probably my favorite part of the song.
Yeah, and we played it like a rougher version of it from like as one of our last.
Before we had the album,
Yeah, and then when I heard the fully fleshed out song, it was like angels singing. I was like, yes, this has been realized to such perfection. It's amazing.
Yep. No, this song didn't make my list, but I was sad about it because I love it as well. I think it's really good. I think, for me, my favorite part of this song is that it's just so casual. Like, the thing is, a lot of the time I feel like it seems almost like the relationship between BTS members themselves, the relationship between BTS and ARMY, it's very difficult to explain. And
Yeah.
and sometimes we get those really heavy, deep, emotional songs. Like, well, just there's a few of them.
Truth
that-
Untold.
yeah, well, I mean, between the relationships between us, like the love, like
I think that's
I mean,
anyway,
that
keep
would
going.
be a different conversation. But yeah, like, so, and this one was very much just like, hey, how you doing? Like, I'm thinking about you, hoping you're not poorly, and like I'm okay. Like, I've had some time, you know. I could make this song for you. And the thing I love about that as well is that like it's a song that Yoongi just had stored away that he'd forgotten about, and it came up and he's
And-
like, oh hey, this is pretty good.
No,
I'll make something.
Jimin was like, "Excuse me, what is this? I'm yanking it. We are putting it in."
Yeah. And it's like, I love how casual it feels. And don't you think a lot of the time that the true bonds, the true deep, very hard to explain love is just, you can see it in how casual and
It just
it's
fits. It
it
just
just
fits.
fits. Yeah. Like, and I love that about this. And it is such a bop. It's such a bop. Like, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Okay.
What is your number 10?
Okay, so my number 10 is
어두운 밤 조명 하나 없이 익숙해지면 안 되는데 그게 더 익숙해 마지막이 들리는 이 에어컨 소리 이거라도 없으면 나 정말 무너질 것 같아
Still With You. So this is where Still With You is
Aww.
for me. And like the thing that I love about this song is it I think I'm recognizing a pattern in my list, but like it transports you to a place. Like, and we discussed this before we knew the lyrics of what we thought it meant, what it made us feel like,
Do you
and
remember?
it was exactly right.
Do you
because
remember Pictionary, where I tried to draw the stadium for the song,
oh my god, yeah.
and then I drew the rain, and then you guessed it.
Yeah, that was, oh god, that was a terrible time for me.
We
My
should-
embarrassing moment.
We should play another round of Pictionary.
We should,
Not
it's
to
pretty
be
fun.
okay, but anyway, back to what you were saying.
Yes. So yeah, it paints a picture in your mind. It's very stimulating. Like I knew what it was about before I listened to it. I was like, this feels so longing, but so like so. I can't remember what I said now, but like everything we discussed was exactly right before we even knew the translations. And to get that kind of a feeling and a mood into your music before people even know the words, I think is very special. And honestly, I just, again, like Jungkook, like he inspires me with how pure and beautiful his approach to love and caring about people and forming thoughts is. Like, it always makes me feel like I can learn from him in that
Mhm.
sense. And yeah, I love jazz. I fucking love jazz. And this is a perfect jazz number. Oh god, I love everything about it. The horns and the piano and everything. I love jazz. So yeah.
All right, number 9. My number 9 is
I wanna be rapped, I wanna be the top, I wanna be rocked, I want it on mine, I wanna be rich, I wanna be the king, I wanna be me, I wanna pick team, oh boy, let me see, I got a big dream.
Interlude Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I still remember in February, or was it January, end of January when it came out. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it might have been January. I don't know.
So when it came out, when we all saw the trailer for the new album, the concept trailer, what do we call those again? Trailer videos?
It is comeback trailer.
Comeback, yeah, whatever. So we haven't had one of those in a while, so I forgot what they were called. Anyway, it was the first time they had
Wait a
admitted
second.
what?
I just realized that B wasn't a comeback. Like, I don't know why I only just made this connection.
Well, I mean, it was a comeback. It just wasn't.
It was, but it wasn't a comeback like normal. It
Yeah,
wasn't like
because it's
set
not
up like a comeback.
because it's not part of their universe.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's their universe because I don't think. I don't know.
Anyway,
yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Up to that point, I don't think BTS had ever admitted and validated the fact that there is a dark side to their fame that is at that level, that there are times where they feel scared and it's really hard and they don't know if they can go on for much longer. I think all over the course of this year, they've gotten a lot more personal with us and started talking about this a lot more, and I do think it's helped them a lot. But I think at that time, that was like the first time they had peeled back the persona of being these great, beloved, talented, adoring artists who love their fans and the fans love them back, and they were like, this is really hard.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we all saw it, but like they'd never been able to fully express it.
Yeah, they'd never admitted it. And again, I feel like the only way, and maybe this is a policy, maybe this is just what they're comfortable with, BTS express their deepest feelings, emotions, thoughts through their music videos, through their art, which is probably the way you're supposed to as an artist, because it gives you time to reflect and examine your thoughts and feelings and say, yes, this is the finished thought that I was trying to express. Here it is. You can examine it now, versus just like making one-off comments and whatever else.
Yeah.
So like I loved what happened to our fandom at that point. That where we had been riding this high, because they released Map of the Soul, Persona, and then went on their Speak Yourself tour, stadium tour. So everyone in the fandom was riding this high of like super talented, super amazing, performing around the world, boom, 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 boom. And then we had come into the new year with, I don't remember when the tour was revealed for Map of the Soul, but I feel like we knew that another tour was coming. Like we smelled it. Like we were like, it's coming. And we wanted to keep going higher. And so like we were all in this level of like riding the persona. And they were like, hi, here's another album, and we're going to peel back the layer and show you our shadow. And all of us had this like come to Jesus moment as a fandom. Like I just remember my timeline on Twitter, everybody was like, oh my God, okay, like we need to, like, I'm so proud of them. I can't believe they revealed this. And it just shifted the way discourse was happening in our fandom, at least from my opinion.
Yeah, no, I definitely think you're right about that. I mean, my personal experience wasn't like that, but I can recognize what you mean in terms of the fandom as a whole. And I do think you're right. I think the fandom as a whole tends to fit with the mood that BTS is in. Like we tend to mirror them. Like I'm more of a forward thinking person. Like, so
personally, I knew this dark side was there, but I did not have any place for example, like I had no place to express that or talk about it, because the fandom was kind of like a, hey, if BTS aren't talking about it, we shouldn't. Like it's kind of like how people who are into K-pop really strongly dislike articles that are made by people in the West going the dark side of K-pop, because we're like, that's a very one-dimensional view. That's just a spicy take that is taking something that is very dramatic and making it and blowing it up. So I feel like ARMY, we didn't want to talk about something even if we knew it was there, because if BTS aren't talking about it, why should we blow it up and make it spicy and dramatic? That is falling kind of into the realm of being a manti. And because BTS finally expressed it, we were able then as a fandom to talk about it more publicly, because
I think it probably, I mean, it doesn't really matter what I think, to be honest. Like, I had a different experience, and I think it's probably mainly because I wasn't on social media, so I kind of was a part of the fandom individually. And I think so, plus I'm the type of person that, like, I can't really ever see just one. Like, so if there's the positive, there's the negative. Like, I'm a very balanced kind of person. So what I appreciated about...
Okay, Namjoon.
Yeah. What I appreciated about Shadow coming out was it felt like a breath, like a release for me. Like, it was like, okay, yeah, there's the other side of it. There's the balance, because it's not just all like this. Like, and I felt like there was half the story missing. And then when it came out, it was like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
I totally agree with you.
Mm-hmm. I Love Shadow. It's higher on my list, so I won't add anything else yet.
Okay, what are we on? 9? What's your number 9?
My number 9 is
I can't understand what people are saying. 어느 장단에 맞춰야 될지 한 발자국 되면 한 발자국 켜지는 shadow.
잠에서 눈을 뜬 여긴 또 어디 마침 서울 또 뉴욕 Paris 일어난 이후 정리는 뭐
on. When it first came out, I was like, this has got to be my favorite title track ever made. And like as time has gone on, I've changed my mind, but it's still up there in my top 3 title tracks they've ever released. It's such a celebration, a statement. It comforts me in how strong they are. The message of it, the resolve, the musicality, the choreography, like everything. It's like the apex. It's so incredibly put together.
It was not allowed the space to shine.
I know.
And it's...
That's what, honestly, this is why it's lower on my list. Because it feels bittersweet to me.
It's such a song of triumph.
Yeah. And
it came out in this moment when the world went to fucking hell. And you can't say, I'm triumphing? Is that a word? I'm winning when the world is losing. Like, right? When it's like, at that point, it's like your triumph is in
it's like, win no matter what. But what?
Yeah, but it's also like you've won in a context that doesn't apply anymore. Like, now you have to win.
The rules have changed.
Yeah, you have to win again, but now in a different way. So it's such a shame because I think it's such a beautiful bookend to their entire discography. Mm-hmm. But now they've had to turn the page and continue on with the next story.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think I do think that's probably why it's lower on my list, because it's just I can't fully celebrate or appreciate On because it just makes me feel so sad. The fact that they've never been able to perform it to an audience, and this song is made for an audience. Like, everything about it is about overcoming, and it just feels. But I also think there's a beauty to be found in that too, I think. And like, I always try to see the positive of it. And like, at the end of the day, yes, that happened. But like, now maybe the message is like, you can't just go all in. Like, things don't always work out like that. And
I don't know if I agree with that, because I think one day when we resolve this coronavirus bullshit and can have concerts again, them performing this song will mean twice as much, 10 times as much, because now it's saying, bring the pain on. Like, I've overcome so much more than what I thought I had before. Yes. And I'm still here.
And I think that's exactly it, because when you're able to think that way again, it will mean so much. But that's what I mean about On. Like, it feels like, bring the pain on, and then coronavirus hits and all the pain comes and you're like, oh, I didn't mean
coronavirus is like, okay,
here you go, how's this? And you're like, I didn't expect any of this. This is not what I'm used to, and I don't like it. Like, so, like, maybe there is a lesson. Like, there's always a lesson. There's always something to take from it, and now it can mean something else. But as much as I love this song so much, it's got too many complicated feelings for me, which is why it's not higher. But it's still worthy of being in my top 10.
Fair. Okay, what are we on? Number 8?
8.
All right, my number 8 is... Louder Than Bombs. It might not be your sound. It is definitely my sound. I thought this collab with Troye Sivan was an amazing one for them, because this is a sound they don't normally make. But I think it's so well expressed, the thought and the idea that they were trying to communicate through the song. I think there is a lot of responsibility and weight they feel. They talk about it sometimes, about how, how much they mean to so many people, and how a lot of people like depend on them for their emotional well-being, for better or for worse. And it's like, what do you do when you have that kind of responsibility on your shoulders? Like, You want to be a good
Yeah.
person. You want to support people. You want to make them feel better. What do you have that
Yeah.
the thing you
And it's
talked
like
about before,
they-
the powerlessness. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I can't remember where it was, but I think it was Namjoon, and he said something along the lines of like, I'm paraphrasing here like a lot, but it was something along the lines of like, he wished that he could be there to support like each one, like, because that's the thing, like you can't really do much. Like to be there for somebody, it's to be by their side, it's to listen to their problems, it's to offer a shoulder to cry on. But like, and that's what you'd normally give to the people you care about. But when there are millions, you physically cannot do that. It's impossible. So it's like, how do I cope with this? How do I figure out how to be there for people? And
all at once, and all
at
7 of
once.
us.
Yeah, and it's like, I'll do what I can, I'll make music, but it still doesn't feel satisfying to me because I want to be there for these people. Like I care. I care about these
exactly. And that's why I love that the way the song ends is on this like unsatisfied note, that they're like, this is all I have, and I
Yes.
will resolve to do this to the best of my fucking
Yeah.
ability.
But it's not enough.
Yeah, it's all I have, and
Yeah.
I'm unsatisfied. I know it's not enough, and I will strive to hopefully figure out something else, but this
Yeah.
is all I can do right now.
Yeah, and this is the sad thing about it, because it's enough from our perspectives, but like when you think about it from the other side, like it wouldn't be enough for you. Like you would want to do more. You would want to be
And
able
you know
to
why?
be there.
Because
and-
part of it is like, look how much we reward them collectively for all
Yeah.
that they do for us, and
and it's like, and they must think, but I'm not doing enough. I don't do anything. I just do that. Like
I do the
what I
thing I'm
can.
good. I do the thing I love. So like the byproduct of me pursuing my personal passion is that you get help and comfort and support. But
Yeah.
like you were not even my super priority. Like my super priority is doing what I'm passionate about.
Yeah, and it's like, how can I give more? But I can't. So it's like this warring, like you have to accept that. You have to just understand that that's just the way it is. Like, and that's one of the hardest things in life, isn't it? It's like, I don't want it to be this way, but there's literally nothing I can do about
Yeah.
it. Like that feeling of powerlessness. And yeah, I think that is
Yeah, I just think
reflected in
it's
this
such
song.
like a big feeling they have that they never express.
Yes,
that's-
I loved that.
And that's why through this song, you feel how massive this feeling is, how much, just how much they think about it and struggle with it. And that's why I fucking love this song and the name, that it's just so massive that for them as artists, as musicians, it's louder than bombs. There's nothing louder. Like it drowns out everything.
Yeah, it's a beautiful metaphor. I'd be really interested to know what Troye Sivan thinks of how they changed it, because I know that, I'm pretty sure this was a song that he wrote. I can't remember where I heard this now, but I'm sure it's true, is that this was a song he wrote when he was like 17, and it had just been like put away for years and years and years.
Wow.
Yeah, and then like BTS used it. And I don't know what it was about before, but like it wouldn't have been about this. So like I would be really interested to know what he thinks of the message they put in it.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
Yeah.
All right, what is
Okay.
your number? What are we on again?
8.
It's 8.
So my number 8 is
괜찮다고 하지 마. 괜찮지 않으니까 제발 혼자 두지 말아줘. 너무 아파.
Blue and Grey. So you had this further, but I just think Blue and Grey, first of all, one of the main reasons I love it is I don't think that the vocal line has ever sounded more beautiful than on this song. They had the most perfect recorded vocals, like the perfect style for each of their voices. It was so stripped back and just they were at the forefront. They had the most incredible harmonies I've heard them do, like full lines of harmonies, not just like the end of a word or with the rap line, or like proper singing harmonies. Like we don't see that much. And I loved like the different rap styles that they had, and how it was like Yoongi was almost talking and it was very soft and quiet. And then we had Hobie, who was kind of more fuller but still quite down here, and then Namjoon bringing it a bit further, and like just the different dynamics, like how they literally in this song they managed to showcase all 7 members to the best of their ability in one single song, in my opinion. And I think that's genius. And talking about the recording quality, again, like, if you listen to it, like the last bit where Tay is singing, you can literally hear the sound of his lips parting, like that. Like you can, and that means that he's recorded it like this, whispering. Like you can hear this. It feels so intimate. It feels so personal. So that's just that side of it that I love.
Mhm.
Next is the fact that we heard the snippet of it on In the Soup, and then to see what it transformed into. And we had this conversation of like, at first it felt so heartbreaking. It felt so devastating, and it still is, but like it felt almost like it's okay because of the fact that it was no longer one voice. Like it was a team. It's okay. Like you have other people with you. And I loved that. But like the main thing is, I think is, I don't know how they managed to do this, but for somebody that is very well versed in mental health, it's the perfect way to explain it, to describe it. Like there are a lot of things in our society that are very much just mistaken, misinterpreted, that you shouldn't say to somebody who's suffering from a mental health condition, but you do, like because society teaches you a certain way to be. So then you treat people who deal with these illnesses in the way that you think everyone should be treated, but it's actually not. It's very damaging to those people. And this song, it's everything about it is so sensitive to that, is so accurate, is so important. Like the whole dialogues of everything of like, I don't even know if I can think of examples, but like just thinking, for example, I just want to be happier. Is this too big of a greed? Like that's so common in when you're struggling with a mental health condition, because it's like, all I want is to be able to feel a little bit better. Like I don't live the same way other people live, and it's different for me. It's not the same, and I'm treated the same as everyone else, but it's different. And all I want is just to be able to be a bit happier and to not have to fight throughout this entire thing. But then you feel like even that is too much of an ask. Like, am I being greedy for asking that? Because it feels almost like you blame everything on yourself. It's just mental health conditions in society is very difficult, and it's been getting better.
Mhm.
It's very hard, and it's very misinterpreted, very misunderstood. And like this is a song that is so, I don't know how to describe it, but just
It's
sensitive.
it's sensitive, it's considerate, it's delicate, it's
delicate.
I really love hearing your perspective on this.
Yeah.
As you talked, I just thought, who else is shining such a spotlight on mental health the way BTS is? Each single one of them is so careful and considerate, and like they put so much thought into everything they do.
They do. And like you do hear a lot of songs about mental health these days. You hear a lot of people talk about mental health these days, but 9 times out of 10 it's not accurate. It's not sensitive. It's what people think they should say. It's what people think it's like, or it's what, like, how you're trying to cope. But then you have this song, and it's so like, it's not saying there's anything wrong. It's not saying you have to be better. It's not saying people can help you. It's not saying anything. It's just saying like, this is how it is. That's life. That's normality sometimes. Like that is how it is. Like, and that's what you need. Like that's what people with mental health conditions need from people, is just it's nothing big. It's nothing major. This is just how it is. And I just think that it's one of the best songs and representations of mental health in a song that I've heard in a long time, and that just makes it mean a lot to me. And it's I think it's just so meaningful, and it's so important, and so many people need to hear something like that, and so many people don't know that they need to hear something like that, but then maybe they will, and maybe it will make you feel seen. And
You've given me a new appreciation for that song.
Oh, I'm glad.
All right, moving on. What are we on? Number 7?
7.
My number 7 is
원하는 건 모두 가졌지 이제 눈물도 가져야만 만족이 될지 내가 원했던 건 너 담은 돈 담은 걸 이 다음은 도대체 뭐지 그 다음은 그래 뭘 관심이 느껴지는 현타 위가 없는 현상 위험보다 난 이젠 강하리만 보다가 이대로 쫓아오고 I'm a king
Deshita. I think it's amazing. We've talked about it at length, but yeah, that's why it's here. I think it's such a work of art, and there's nothing else like it.
Yes, that's exactly true. It's so unique.
Yeah, my top 7 are top 8. My top 8 are all unique songs that like there's no other song like it. So yeah. So what's your number 7?
Okay, my number 7 is Interlude Shadow. So this is where I've put mine. And like we've spoken so many times about Shadow. Like we've spoken about the lyrical context and how, and just what I want to reiterate again is like, it's such a work of art in musicality. Like honestly, it blows my mind when I listen to it. It's so experimental. It's so unique. It's so creative. And if there's anything I love more than anything else, it's when just something is so original and so captivating, because I'm not trying to be anything else. I'm just putting my thoughts down, and I adore everything about this song. I think it's so clever.
Chef's kiss. Yeah. All right, number 6. My number 6 is Dynamite. For all the reasons we've described. I just it was a light in the dark.
Exactly.
What's your number 6?
My number 6. I'm sad that this is so low because I fucking love it. But it is
Why so serious? Why so serious? Why so serious? I'm so serious. I'm so serious.
People from D2.
Oh, I was waiting for you to bring this up.
You know how much I love this song.
Yeah.
Oh God, I love this song so much. Oh, it brings me so much joy. Like any time that I just need picking up, just need comforting, it goes on. And like I have spoken about it before, but just the whole philosophy of Yoongi's in this song is my exact feelings about life. Like I'm not one of those people that that thinks, oh, you know, it'll get better, or that thinks, oh, everything's rubbish and it's always going to be shit. Like I'm very much rooted in like optimistic realism is what I've described it as. And it's the same with this song. People, it's just like, you know, this is just the way it is. Life, that's life. Like find beauty in it, find pain in it, always find that. Like I just think it's so clever. The lyrics make me so happy, and it's one of those songs that just makes me smile just every time. And it reminds me of when Yoongi was listening to it in his behind, when he was doing the explanation video of it, and he was like singing along to it and just like getting completely captivated, and then just burst into a big smile. And that's exactly how I feel about it. It's so comforting. So what if life sucks? Just that's the way it is. Like, let's just embrace it. Let's just be present. Let's just live. Let's just accept. That's all that I ever need to hear when I'm down. So yeah, love it. The best. It's awesome. Yoongi. As we get further on in this video, I'm just like, I don't know how to describe them anymore, because these are like the ones that are like, yeah.
I feel that. All right, moving on.
Yes.
Number 5.
Top 5.
Number 5 for me is
사람들은 말해 세상이 다 변했대. 다행히도 우리 사이는 아직 여태 안 변했네. 내 하루 시작과 끝 안녕이란 말로 오늘과 내일 또 함께 이어보자고.
Life Goes On. For all the reasons we've described, I'm so glad that this was the first number 1 non-English Korean song on the Billboard Hot 100. This was a comforting hug. This was a friend sitting next to you and putting their arm around like your back and just being like, yeah. Just that's it.
I agree. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
What's your number 5?
My number 5 is no shocker. It is Did you wonder which position this would be on my list?
I
do nothing but talk about it.
I knew it was be somewhere up there.
Again, I've talked about this song so many times. I love this genre. I love this style. The lyrics in it to me are just poetry. It makes me cry every time. Jin is the epitome of safety to me, and so is this song. And
I want to be safety to all of them. Like, they give so much vulnerability, strength, emotion, comfort. Like, let me help you. Let me give back. Like,
I know.
That frustrates me.
It'd be nice, wouldn't it? Like
you can rely on me. Like,
Like,
you don't
I'll
scare me away.
I'll provide that circle that you can just be in, that you know that it doesn't matter you're safe. Like, it's that feeling of like when you're somewhere that you can fall asleep with no worries because you know nothing's going to happen to you. You know you're safe. You know you're cared about. Like, that's what this song brings to me. It's the ultimate feeling of stability, of safety, of comfort, of family. I adore it so much. It means so much to me. And yeah, you're right. I wish I could do that for them. Wouldn't it be nice? Oh, it sucks.
All right, number 4.
Yeah.
My number 4 is On. For me also, the added layer to this, besides everything we've already talked about, is the fact that this was a song where the theme was a marching band. A marching band which has connotations of both like the military aspect because of like, you know, like they are Bangtansonyondan, like Bulletproof Boy Scouts, like it's kind of like a callback to their beginning, their roots. And it's also like in the sense of like marching bands have become something that inspire people in parades, in halftime shows at football. Like, it's a concept that there's a large part of it is American these days, especially in pop culture, but they took that and they made it their own. And because I do think BTS is a fusion of Korean and Western culture because
I
of
think
who
that
they
they
are.
were paying homage to
to
US culture. I always pronounce it homage, but it's because homage just doesn't feel right to me. Like, it just feels wrong. Like, homage is, I think that is what I think we do pronounce it as homage in the UK, unless I'm just tripping.
I don't
But
know. I've always heard it pronounced homage. But
Yeah.
I think they were paying homage as well. But I also think it was their interpretation through their own cultural lens of how they would apply this to themselves. And I think in the music video, like, to me, it seems like, especially the Kinetic one, that ARMY is their backup dancers. Like, we are the force behind them, that they are leading. Yeah. But we are what make them scary. Like, they are fierce, and we're the ones behind them with the fucking, like, massive baton. Like, we're about to beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, and we will. I think, like, when you brought up the video there as well, like, it does feel very much like we did it and we can do anything. We're free. This is freedom. This is what it feels like. And this is what you can do if you band together and you believe in something. And the fact that they linked it back to from No More Dream to Dream, like, that's what it feels like. And I never thought about it like that before until now. But I really think that makes sense to me now. And I love that.
Yeah, I fucking love them. I love the song. Anyway, moving on. What is your number 4?
My number 4 is... Dis-ease.
Hey! That's my number 3.
Oh, is it? I had a hard time with my top 4, I tell you. It was so difficult.
Disease is a work of fucking art! I mean,
Oh my
they
God, it's-
all are, but this is just special on a different
yeah,
level.
like it's so unique. It's so creative, and like this is what you were saying. Like, yeah, there's nothing like it. It's so special. It might be one of both plural. I don't know how to describe this, but J-Hope, RM, and why did I just describe it as J-Hope? That's really weird.
Whatever.
Hobi, Namjoon, and Yoongi's like best verses in a BTS song. All three of them in this song, and the bridge and the way that it starts with their old school vibes and this chilled, but then it builds up, and then by the end it's a fucking parade, and it's got these like this determination, and it's like, no, fuck this, like I'm
My favorite
this.
My favorite song, I think, in the entire album to sing along to is Jimin's I Will Never Fade Away at the climax of that song, because it's such a rebellion and a proclamation against the pandemic, against the industries, against xenophobia, against everything in the way. I will be myself. I will take care of myself, and I will never fucking fade away. My mark on history will be forever. And I'm like, fucking yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. And I think, like, I also love so much about it, like, just how real it is. Like, they talk about, like...
This is like their first time admitting that that they have an addiction to working.
And this is the thing, I don't think they would have ever stopped to think about it, because there wouldn't have been time. There wouldn't have been that chance to think about it. Like, because that's just the way it is. That's what I do. But then, like, when they're faced with, like, they say, like, uncomfortable happiness, like... It feels weird. Like, I don't know how to deal with this because I'm not doing anything and I'm actually eating all my meals. What the fuck? Like, how do I deal with this? I just love the way that they reflect on this idea that, like, I'm not, like, this is not healthy. Like, yes, I have achieved all of these things. Look how much I've done and I have worked, but you know what? Like, it's not actually good. Like, I shouldn't really be celebrating it. I'm not going to change it because this is the way society has made me. And at the end of the day, like, I have to work this hard and I've become this person, but it's not normal. And I need to be able to manage it better so that it doesn't affect me. And again, I think this song is so clever.
Yes.
It's so clever because you don't normally think about this type of shit. You don't normally think about the fact that, like, you know, when I try to actually change, when society shifts, when it's not forcing this work, you have to work to succeed, and the only reason you succeed is because you've worked and you've done nothing but work. Like, when that is taken away, it's like, hang on a minute, like that's not actually normal. Like, it shouldn't be this way. We're not meant to do this, and that's pretty messed up. And there's 400 different types of illnesses, and at least everyone's having one. And like, am I the problem, or is it actually the world? Is it society that's the problem? And just all of these questions, all of these prompts and thinking, so clever. And then the fact that they end it and it's just like, but it doesn't matter either way because I will overcome, whether I do it in a way that is not healthy or whether it is healthy, whether I'm still suffering from this type of a disease or I'm not suffering from this type of a disease. It doesn't really matter. Like, I have to make sure that I'm not letting it consume me in a sense.
Yep.
Oh,
this song
genius.
was eye-opening for me because it's one thing to know, like, I overwork as well all the time. And then and then to hear someone explain it and go into the details of it, you're like, you apply it to yourself as you read the lyrics and you're like, wait a minute.
Yep.
I'm the same way.
Yep. Yeah.
I agree with everything you've said. It's a fucking work of art. And the climax of the song, the way it builds, like, it's the end is a reward. It's such a reward for listening to the song.
Yes.
And every time I start the song, I'm just like, it's gonna get there.
Waiting. Yeah. I think it's a work of art, like, from beginning to end. Every element of it, the progression of it, the narrative of it, every line of it, every note of it, every melodic, like, expression, it's a piece of art. It's fucking untouchable. Like, it actually blows my mind still thinking about it. I think it's so cleverly done. And all of them, the fact that they all managed to address this is, I just have, I have nothing else to say.
I
but
have
admiration.
nothing but praise and applause. You 7 wonderful
You nailed
fucking
it.
men. You fucking nailed it. Like, pat yourself on the fucking back.
Yes, and I need to see it live.
Me too. All right, moving on.
Okay.
All right, top three.
Top three.
My number three. We already talked about it. It's Disease. All right, what's your number three?
Right, okay. So my number three is...
You're my friend 어떻게 지내니 넌 난 먼저 지내야가 싶어 뭐 You're my friend 나 솔직히 말할게 난 네가 존나게 미워 아직도
Dear My Friend from DT. This song, again, I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's a work of art. I think it's fucking incredible. Like, it's the same. All of my top four is like that. It's like, it blows my fucking mind that this is so good.
Yeah, so why exactly does it hit such a place for you?
Okay, so there are many reasons. First of all, it's the musicality of it. Like, it reminds me of So Far Away from the last mixtape in the way that it progresses, but I think it's a giant step up. And that's not to say So Far Away is bad, because I also think So Far Away is another masterpiece. But this is like So Far Away on drugs.
Okay.
But like, if you listen to it and like just the instrumental, and I'll have to find one because I haven't actually done that, and I really should have. But the way that it begins with soft piano, and then it adds certain elements, and then it builds, and it has the guitar, and then it has like verses, and then it has like a breakdown where it has an electric guitar, and it has this entire... It reminds me of Forever Rain. It's the same kind of vibe as Forever Rain, and that kind of musical expression, and that then ends with a really like soft outro. Like, it's one of my favorites. It's one of the things that I find to be the most powerful that you can do in music. I don't know how I would describe it. I don't know what I would like.
It's got a good crescendo.
No, but it's not even that. It's like, it's so difficult for me to explain, but it's like, I can't. Like, I don't know how. If you listen to So Far Away, Forever Rain, and Dear My Friend, and note the musicality of them.
They sit at the same table.
Yes. And it literally pulls me out, threads me bare, and like throws everything that I am as a person, as an individual, as a human being around, and then it all kind of floats in the atmosphere as I'm like looking at it all. Like, that's what it does, the music of it. Like, I think the second part is just the storytelling, the way that I don't think I've ever heard him rap this way ever. Like, he uses this technique sometimes, like it's kind of like speaking, like it's like he's talking, but this, it just feels different. It feels like a letter. It feels like somebody reading a letter. This is like, my top three are going to be hard for me to explain because they're just, in my mind, so powerful, moving. And I also wanted to say about it is that it's so brave. Like, it's so brave of him to tell this story. It's so meaningful. It's so impactful. And again, like, I don't think many people would understand this feeling. I think you can relate it to everyone. Like, you can relate what it feels like to lose a friend. But this concept of
somebody walking down the life path with you, but then you diverged and your life path went into a better place and theirs went into a worse place.
Yeah.
And you can't reach them anymore. They're too far away.
They're gone, and you couldn't save them. You couldn't fix them. And you feel guilty every day for where you are. And you look at them and you hate them, but you love them. And it's one of those feelings that like when people get taken in and overcome by crime, by abuse, like drug abuse, alcohol abuse, these types of addictions, and it completely transforms who they are as a person. I think, again, it's the same type of feeling with loss, with grief. It's like, I don't know how to feel about it. I can't, because I can't get you back, and you're still there. You're the person that meant everything to me, and now it's not the same anymore. Like, it's just such a difficult thing to explain to me, but I just think that this kind of a song is beyond words. It's a true reflection of the human emotion, and the fact that this came from Yoongi, the fact that this was him. Like, I can't even imagine how hard it was to work on this song and to release this song. Like, to me, this is literally like taking a piece of your heart and just putting, and obviously they do that a lot with most of their music, but this is different. Like, this kind of this kind of pain, vulnerability, rawness. Not many people can do that. And the amount of respect, the amount of pride. And again, we're talking about a place like Korea where this is very taboo. This is not talked about. I think it's so powerful. It's stunning. It's stunning. And it means a lot to me as a person. So yeah.
Perfect. All right, number 2. My number 2.
모든 빛을 침묵하는 바닥에 길이 있는 내 발목을 또 잡아 어떤 소리도 들리지 않아 Killing me now do you hear me?
Is Black Swan.
I think we will have the same 1 and 2, honestly.
What's your number 2?
I think ours will be flipped because my number 1 is
Holding 듯 천천히 가라는 장난 몸부림쳐 봐도 sap방이 바닥나 모든 순간들이 영원히 돼 Feeling me now do you hear me?
Black Swan. And my number 2 is
Yeah, we get to heaven. 내게 둘이 없어. 우린 곁이 없어 anymore. We are together.
We Are Bulletproof, The Eternal.
That's my number 1.
누가 우리 왔도 누가 남을 곁도 걸어가. We are forever bulletproof. Yeah, we get to.
Yeah. And I went back and forth on these. Like, I switched them about 5 times. Like, I didn't know which one to put first, and it took me so long. And it was We Are Bulletproof for a long time. And then I switched it last minute. So, yeah, I think we should just talk about both of these together.
I'm exhausted. Like, discussing all of this music makes me so emotionally exhausted.
Because it's so personal. Like, the journey with BTS, their music, what it means to me is so important. And, like, that makes me emotional.
And no one will ever understand that outside of if they're not a part of this fandom. Yeah. The kind of emotions and thoughts and feelings that BTS evoke because they have brought it out in themselves, put it into music, given it to you, allowed you to experience it on your own, and then come back to discuss it with them, to discuss it with the fandom, with each other. And the fact that their music is so beautifully made and so well put together that you can, it's not like, they don't make music that you listen to once and you're like, I can't listen to this anymore. Like, their music has longevity and it's in relevancy no matter what time or period in time they were made. And it's just like, it's so amazing to be able to experience emotions on such a vibrant spectrum through BTS's music.
Yeah. And, like, their music, it carves its way into your heart. And, like, something Yoongi said once, like, the music you listen to in your 10s, in your 20s, like, that tends to be the music that you take with you your entire life.
I remember when he said that, and I'm like, he's so fucking right.
Yeah. Like, this is what will remain with me forever. It's so, like, music, obviously, like, I'm a musician. It means everything to me. And the fact that BTS is the artist that I've decided to base my, like, I know I'll be 80 listening to this again, coming back to it. Like, it matters. Like, if BTS could watch any of my videos or any of our videos that we've put together, I would want it to be this one, because, like, you don't understand how much your art matters. Like, it matters. It reaches people. This is why, like, yes, there is everything else, but, like, in terms of your creativity, in terms of your art, like, it's not just, oh, I like this song, oh, this has cool lyrics. Like, it reflects and shapes the lives of people all over the world. It's so special. And I think we should be very brief talking about our top 2 songs, or I will cry.
I'm already struggling to hold back tears. Fuck you, BTS. I love you, but why do you do this to me every single fucking time? I should be over this by now, but I'm not.
This is only what you released in 2020.
I know! It's like, without BTS, I would have no motivation or excuse to allow myself to feel these types of things. I am a person who suppresses emotion that doesn't benefit me.
Me too.
I hide it, I put it away, I deal with it later when I have the free time, which is like never. So like the things, the beautiful things that their beautiful music pulls out of me makes me feel like I'm living life to the fullest. I'm actually experiencing life, like with a capital L. And I do not know how I would be doing this without BTS. I really don't. So
I mean, we've spoken about this before. Like, this world teaches you to put up barriers, to hide, to protect yourself, because your feelings, like, they're not useful, they're not productive. And BTS and their music, like, it just, like, there's a reason why so many people have just complete emotional outbursts with BTS. Like, I do, like, sobbing like a child. Like, it's ridiculous, but there's a reason, and it's because, like, and I'm the same. I'm like you. This emotion, like, I can't think about this. I'm not prepared to deal with this. It's too much. Like, it's not going to be helpful for me, for anyone else. And then BTS is like, no, like, that's what makes you human. That's what makes you be alive. That's what it means to live. And, like, it's true. Like, you lose that, and without them, I don't know if I ever would have gained it back. And that's why their music matters.
In conclusion, Black Swan and We Are Bulletproof the Eternal are works of art. Black Swan, I think, is incredible. Nothing has... I think it's such... At the time it was released, they had never also, again, expressed that part of themselves, that they were worried about one day not enjoying the beauty of creating something.
It's the most aesthetically pleasing song visual that I've ever come across in music, in terms of the performance piece, the orchestral version, their choreography, the poetry of the lyrics.
I was so angry. I was so angry at the orchestra piece when it came out, and I couldn't explain why until I realized I was mad that it was making me feel such dark emotions. It was evoking such feelings in me that I do not like to experience, and it just yanked them powerfully out of me. And when I realized that, I stopped hating that song and I just started to cry. Like,
I just, like, the lyrics of it, even the chorus. And again, I think it's a true work of art. It's a true work of art. Everything about it is like, okay, so it's about losing passion. It's about losing that creativity, but everything else is up to interpretation. Everything about it, from the sounds of the instrumental versions, from the lyrics, because they're not spelled out for you. They are very abstract. The dance is abstract. Everything about it. It's a work of art.
Even the name,
a work of art.
The name, you know, like, people were talking when it came out how, like, okay, well, you have Black Swan the movie, which also kind of talks about that. You have also Black Swan, this concept in business and finance, where, like, you have an event that was unforeseen and will never happen again. And I think that is a perfect way.
Have it in the ballet.
And I just think, like, the financial business concept is a perfect way to encapsulate what BTS is, that there will never be another BTS. And you're right, there is a ballet, like, there's so many layers, there's so many references. The fact that they sing about being, like, at the bottom of the ocean in the song, like, it's beautiful. There's so much imagery, there's so much poetry, like, and it's so relatable, because you can lose your passion for something in anything, and, like, any person can lose their passion for something. And if you really care about what your passion is, you can be afraid of it. You can, like, want to avoid that and be afraid it's coming and it's inevitable.
I think that this song is just any creative person, anyone that experiences things like this,
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest fears that you have, is like, because that's who make, like, I don't know about you, but like I define myself
Yeah,
as somebody who is a creative.
Yep, you define your identity is formed
Yeah.
around what you create, the art you make.
Yes.
And when you're not making it, you falter. Like
Yeah.
I haven't written my main story that I was working on in over a fucking year,
Mhm.
and I wrestle with this issue all
Yep.
the time. I do not write as often as I used to. I have found other passions in video editing and website creating and all this other stuff, but the what I used to define myself as no longer applies, and the
Yeah,
process of
same with me in music. Like, I'm a musician, you're a writer, but I'm not making music, but you're not writing.
We're
So
both
who am I?
YouTubers.
Yeah, now we're on YouTube.
Shitty YouTubers that are just like, let's talk about BTS in our 8.5 long video. Like
8.5. 8.5 what? 8.5 inches? 8.5 hours?
hours. I didn't have. I said the hour part in my head. Yeah. So it's just like the process of understanding the change in my identity and that I haven't lost anything
Yes.
is so difficult.
But it's like, what if that does go? What if it never comes back? What am I then? Like, what if I can't replace it with YouTube? What if I can't replace it with reading? What if all of my creativity is taken from me? Like,
I have so
what
many.
do I become?
But what if it's that moment right now? Like,
Right
no,
now, exactly.
no.
And I think it's so brave of them to
Yeah.
talk about this and to leave it open-ended. Like, there's not always a solution.
I
It's
was-
not always
I
positive.
was pissed off at the interviews they got when that came out, and the way like interviews were like, "Oh my god, are you worried you're not gonna like art anymore, like music?" And I'm like,
Oh,
"Go fuck off!
are you not enjoying working? Like, are you not enjoying making music anymore?
Give
And
us
it's
some
like,
spicy tidbits. Like, go fuck off. This is something so beautiful and delicate and vulnerable, and you should handle it in a much more sensitive way, you dumb fucks." Anyway,
it's a piece of art, and anybody that doesn't see that
has a small brain.
has a small brain. Yeah.
All right, and then We Are Bulletproof, The Eternal, the fucking slug punch into my heart.
Can we tie Black Swan and We're Bulletproof the Eternal at number one? Just a tie
Yeah.
of number one.
Yeah. Okay.
nice.
Yeah. We are Bulletproof the Eternal. I was not expecting this kind of love, thank you, gratitude song. Like, I was like, this album is so great. I love like Map of the Soul 7. Woo! And then you get to the end and you're like, and you're
Because it's like, oh, this is a happy, smiley persona side of things, but things get a little bit harder, and then it's really dark and difficult, but then we come out of it, and you know what? Like, everything's gonna be okay again. Oh no, wait a minute, here's the soppy, like, and then it's like, wait, no, we'd reached the end. What the fuck?
yeah, and it's not fair. I don't know how many times you and I have bitched about this on Army Time, but it's not fair that this song hijacks your fucking emotions. I made it to a point where I could listen to most of it without crying. It's gone now. I cry again when I listen to it.
Yeah, I can't listen to it.
Yeah,
I don't think I've properly listened. I haven't chosen to listen to it.
Same.
Like, chosen to listen to it since it came out.
Same. I avoid it now, and when it comes on, I'm like, but it's like when we were making this list, immediately I was like, my number one.
Same,
I was
that's
like,
got to be number one.
yeah, because it is something so beautiful, so pure, so loving, so special, and unless you're Army, you can't fucking understand it. And I hate when people even pretend that they can try.
Yep. And honestly, like,
I can't.
If Black Swan demonstrates their artistry and everything that I have grown to love about them in their entire career, all combined in one singular package in terms of their musicality, their experimentation, their poetry, their lyrical content, their vulnerability, their artistry, like their choreography, everything, then We Are Bulletproof the Eternal encapsulates everything about their journey, their story, who they are as people, who I am, and how I connect with them. Like, these two songs for me define it all of it.
Yep.
And that's why this song means so much to me, is it's like the past 7 years, in however long it is, 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes, everything, all of those feelings, the ups, the downs, the joy, the pain, all of it, everything It's just there. It's there.
It's
And
their
that's
heart.
why-
It's their heart.
Yeah.
How the fuck did they record this without sobbing?
I don't know. And they talk about it like normally. Like
Yeah, they're like,
nobody
oh,
talked about it.
And they were saying like they looked forward to performing this in
Yeah.
concert. I'm like, how can you perform this without crying?
I think it's one of those where it hasn't really hit yet, and it's like, oh, you
Ha
know,
ha.
put pen to paper, and
Those fucking
and-
liars.
oh,
They're
it will-
lying
it
to
will happen.
themselves.
It will happen one day, and they'll just be singing it, and it'll just hit, and it's like, wait a second, and that's it. But
Yeah,
I think
I cannot wrap my mind around the concept of them being like, oh, let's make this song. Oh, this is so great. Like, how do you not even discuss it amongst yourselves without crying? Like us, we're
Yeah.
sitting here, you and me, and we're struggling not to tear up and cry. I'm getting angry because I'm trying to avoid the tears. I can't handle this. I can't
know.
do it.
and like I say, like it came out almost a year ago, and I haven't chosen to listen to it since that time. And that's not because it's bad, and that's not because I don't like it, and that's not because
It's
it's
because
got
it's
repeatability.
It's the
It's too
best.
much.
It's too much.
Too much.
Like, how dare you make this song?
Yeah. It's illegal, not allowed, and
We've
Yeah.
had this rant, and then we thought we worked past it.
I know, because we used it in the intro and we worked on it, and like we picked it apart and we talked about it, and we were like, you know, it's fine, and then all of a sudden
It's been
just shit
undone.
again.
It's been undone.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our top 20. Top
Of
24.
2020.
It-
20 of 2020.
It's top 24, let's be fucking real. Like, we had our honorable
But
mentions.
20 of 2020 sounds cool.
Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah. There was only 20 songs on this list for each of us. So, please, if anybody wants to provide their own top 20 of 2020 with explanations, please feel free. We'll happily read them. We love
Oh
talking.
my god, I love
We
that,
love
yeah.
talking about this shit. If you haven't noticed by the
I know,
god-awful
right?
length of this video, it was, I don't know how long we expected it to be. Probably not this long.
Definitely not this long.
But we need to stop lying to ourselves because you and I will never shut the fuck up about
I know,
BTS.
especially about like their music. Do you know what? No, not even that. Just about anything and everything. And do you know what just blows my mind? This is 1 year's worth of music. 1 year that they have done all of these things. They have gone on all of these
Yeah.
journeys, released all of these
Yeah.
emotions. All of it is from 1 year. 1 year. 1 year.
It's
Why?
amazing.
Why do you do this? Do you know what? Now I'm mad. Why do you do this to me, BTS? I don't even want this anymore. Just leave me alone. No, I'm kidding.
I love you.
Stay with me forever. But what the hell? Okay.
This is what
Goodbye,
it's like to be
everyone.
an army.
Yeah.
I love you guys. Enjoy our closing music. Mwah.
가진 게 꿈밖에 없었네 눈 뜨면 뿌연 아침밤 밤새 춤을 추며 노래해 그 끝이 없던 악보들
우린 호기롭게 shout 던져봐 세상과 첫 sound Don't wanna die but so much pain Too much crime 속 묻어지는 칼날
We were only 7 But we have you all 내 고백 결과 본 뒤에 이렇게만 짧은 손끝에 Yeah, we got to heaven 내게 돌아왔죠 우린 답이 없어 anymore We are together bulletproof Yeah, we have you 누가 우리 와도 누가 남을 가도 걸어가 We are forever bulletproof Yeah, we get to heaven
We are bulletproof 부정적인 시선에 맞서 우리는 했고 나쁜 기억도 많은 시련도 다 호기롭게 우리 막아냈지 bulletproof
내 생각에 아직 꿈속인 건 아닐까 길었던 겨울 끝에 온 게 진짜 봄일까 모두 비웃던 한땐 부끄럽던 여름 이건 새로 된 조명 Bulletproof
We were only seven. But we have fear
일곱의 겨울과 봄 뒤에 이렇게 맞춰본 손끝에
Yeah, we get to heaven.
내게 돌아가줘 우리 값이 없어 anymore.
We are together bulletproof. Yeah, we have you.
누가 우리 왔고 누가 남을 갖고 걸어가
We are forever bulletproof.
Yeah, we get to heaven. 다시 멈추지 않을래
여기 우리가 함께이기에.
Tell me your every story. Tell me why you don't stop this.
Tell me why you still walking with us.
Yeah, we get to heaven.
내게 돌아가줘 우리 값이 없어 anymore.
We are together bulletproof. Yeah, we have you.
누가 우리 왔고 누가 남을 갖고 걸어가
We are forever bulletproof.
Yeah, we get to
Yeah, we have you. Yeah, we are now seven with you. Yeah, we are now seven with you. Yeah, we are now seven with you.